Right everyone, welcome to race day at the Australian Grand Prix, Melbourne. Exciting day today because we have someone actually down on the ground in a first for us. So I'm very excited. We may see our poster down there, and gonna get the standing ups. Welcome Chaya, welcome Anna, welcome Carl, welcome Vlacker as well. Luke Caldwell, Better Buell. We made it. We made it here. It's been a long day of streaming. Come off the motorbikes at Daytona. Haven't really slept. But the motorbikes were fantastic. But here we are for the Formula One, and I want to check what's the latest on Kimi Antonelli. Did he get a penalty for the shenanigans in the pit lane yesterday? Let me see. Lots of rugby in the UK yesterday, so trying to find anything else other than rugby is a bit difficult. Do we have a penalty? How am I doing? Not too bad. It is very early. How are you doing? No, it looks like Anthony somehow did not get a penalty, which I find absolutely shocking because for me that is a textbook unsafe release, so I do not understand that, but that's what's happened. Yeah, let us know what the local time is where you are as well. Is it a convenient time for anyone? Everyone's sitting there like, yeah, this is a great time. Eric says, isn't as bad as yesterday, it was 2 in the morning. It's 11:02 right now. Basically prime time where you are. Let's try and get this map here just a little bit. Looking a little bit smarter. There we go. And you can see Antonelli looks like he is going to be starting P2. The Mercedes just looks so good. Better Builds in Sydney, which is similar to track time. Very nice. Thank you for joining us. Test review as well. Looks like it might be from Australia. And Alan said, bro, he called Piastri's... well, he calls Norris's front wing to be fixed. Do you want to know why McLaren did not change Lando Norris's front wing yesterday? Even though he got damaged in that. We speculated during the stream, but it has now been confirmed. Welcome VNEC as well. The sport formerly known as Formula One. You're correct, they didn't have a spare of the same spec. So that's why McLaren, very high-tech company, gaffer taped it up. They didn't have a spare. It shows how everyone's really pushing the limits here. It also shows that, well, if any more damage happens to Lando's front wing, we'll have to go on a non-ideal spec version of it. Welcome Gina Kim, hello again. Seen you in all 3 sessions now that we've done here. First weekend. So, welcome to race day. This is where the drivers are going to start on the grid, and we're expecting... If we're honest, we're expecting a terrible start. Because of the different turbos these cars have. I mean, what I would say is that there might be some shenanigans on the formation lap. For example, the drivers at the front might drive slower than you might expect, or there could be some shenanigans because of these turbos. Shai says, is the situation at McLaren due to being so early this season? Yeah, that's how I understand it. But also there is frustration at McLaren that they're unable to realise the clear potential of this Mercedes engine, given that they are paying for it. It just seems like the factory Mercedes car has a little bit of a, well, not a little bit, a massive edge. Is Verstappen's car ready to go? Yes, Verstappen's car is ready to go. See, he's in P20. There wasn't actually ironically, a huge amount of damage to that car, it seemed. But it was interesting to see the front nose cone ripped apart a little bit and understand what goes on in there with the active aero. VNex predicting a demolition derby for the front line, start line. We'll see. Hopefully there won't be any big issues there, but everyone's saying that the Ferraris are going to get a great start. Let's see if that comes through or not. What happened in 2014? 2014 there was also a big regulation change. So Lewis Hamilton had moved sensationally from McLaren to Mercedes, and everyone was like, that's a bit of a silly move. But then it turned out that Mercedes has just got the regulation change exactly right. Mercedes had a dominant car all the way through to 2021, where Max Verstappen became the first non-Mercedes to win a championship for a long time. Welcome, Kelly Motorco. Eric wasn't as able to see you much with the videos I was getting. But we're here now. Jordan, what's the situation at McLaren? A little bit of frustration at McLaren that they seem to be unable to extract the maximum performance out of the Mercedes engine. A little bit of grumbling that they seem to be getting second-rate treatment as a customer. However, would you rather be McLaren as a customer of Mercedes, or would you rather be Aston Martin as the factory Honda team? Who would you rather be? Yeah, I don't have the exact time, but it'll be about 50 minutes, I reckon. Welcome Milo as well. And VNex saying every car has a different launch speed. The practice starts we've seen so far in free practices and such, and the testing, have not gone well, have not been smooth. Welcome Reto Pat as well. Let us know if you've got any other questions in chat, as we're here in the pre-show. But I think for me, the thing that exposes the true Mercedes pace is the fact that Kimi Antonelli had such a rough session yesterday and still kind of easily squeezed into P2. Can you do a timer on screen? Weirdly, it's not as easy as it seems to do a timer. It's not as easy. There's no inbuilt timer that I can do. So we'll have to... Feel free to do it in capitals in the chat. Welcome 404RE. And I'm saying Aston Martin got kind of cooked. Yeah, they got kind of done by Honda, it seems. Kind of duped by Honda. Eric, I'd rather be Ferrari at this point because some of the results yesterday were looking quite good. Well, let's see, because Lewis Hamilton, in the end, only P7. But it's going to be all about the race pace there, and remember, they were looking good on the mediums in Q1 yesterday. Do you know how many laps they do? Is it the same every race? I'm not sure exactly. Maybe going to be 58 laps today. Maybe 58 laps today. But it's different for every race. It's set uniquely for every race. Reddit Pat's excited for Audi. Let's see how Audi are going to do. Obviously, Bortoletto had his issue yesterday. At the end of Q2, car conked out in the pit entry. 404 engine braking rear mid-drive. Yeah, and it was confirmed, by the way, by Red Bull that it was some kind of software issue that should be easily fixed that caused Max Verstappen to spin. So as we were saying, it was literally a software issue, which seems pretty crazy because that should have been easily avoided. And I do wonder how much the word software issue is doing some heavy lifting. Jacques Villeneuve is down on the ground in Melbourne as well. How does a replacement DRS work? It's a great point. We haven't really even talked about the overtake mode. We haven't really talked about it. There's been so much other stuff going on. We haven't mentioned overtake mode, so we're going to see here whether it's OP or not. Because DRS we'd all got used to. Now we're going to have something different. Audi almost the same as Apex GP from the movie. I think the Audi livery looks good in person. think it's better than the Cadillac livery. 51 minutes to go. Jared, please remind you, how many drivers usually start from the pit lane at Melbourne? I'm not sure about usually start from the pit lane. Do you mean in terms of how long the grid goes? Because we might have some of those runners at the back decide to start from the pit lane. We will see. I mean, is Lance Stroll even going to make it out? I'm not sure that's been confirmed. I'll try and get some confirmation. I'll let you know, basically, if I can see Lance Stroll around the car. Which track do they usually do the most laps on? Probably be Monaco, I would imagine. The shorter circuits, you're going to do the most laps. Welcome Simon Hawkshaw as well. Yeah, Isaac Hadger. Can Isaac Hadger really consolidate his P3 qualifying as well? Because that'd be a huge story. And that will show that the Red Bulls really are in and amongst it with the Ferraris and the McLarens. But to be honest, I'm expecting a George Russell win here by 20 seconds. I don't think it'll be more than that. This is all subject to safety cars, etc. I don't think it'll be more than that because Mercedes don't want to show too much to their hand. VNet, does it cost money to light stream? It doesn't cost money. Feel free to light stream. Kelly says, what do you think this means for Mercedes P1, P2? Yeah, exactly as I was saying. I think George Russell's going to win this by 20 seconds. I think that'll be the margin. And I think the reality be that they could probably do more than that. I mean, the gap in qualifying was huge by previous season standards. Monaco is 78 laps. Eric says, I think Gran Turismo at Monaco for the Gran Turismo place. So interestingly, Gran Turismo yesterday did cancel the Gran Turismo World Series that's meant to be in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. It's meant to be out there at the end of the month. They've gone ahead and cancelled it. So I would expect Formula 1 to follow suit. I would expect an announcement to come soon. I would be surprised. I would be potentially disappointed if they don't. There's no need to race in what is currently a war zone. It just seems the wrong priorities. Racing Bulls double Q3, yeah, and Lawson just getting ahead of Lindblad when it counted. There was a mistake from Lindblad in this final lap there. Welcome back, Michael Awusu. Yeah, confirmed Monaco 78 laps. Which track is the most difficult? I mean, that will change for every driver. It seems like Baku's very difficult. Certainly in Sim, I find Baku pretty horrendous to drive. So I would go Baku. I mean, anything with on the street circuits as well, where you're so close to the barriers. Welcome, Clint. What time is it for you? I don't even know. It's just been a bit of a mad weekend. I haven't really slept. Yeah, today I've been doing the motorbikes at Daytona, which has been fantastic. And then it says Monaco overtake chance less, so it's kind of hard. Yeah, Monaco. Is that going to change this year with the overtake? I don't know if they've mandated 2 stops again, so there might be some strategy there, but when Monaco rolls around, we'll have the usual criticism of Monaco. Yeah, I'm going to ask a question here which you would think, because I'm not really into F1 sim racing, but which would you say is the best for, like, you'll be happy to win most? What do you mean? Best what? I'm not sure what time it is just for here. It might be 3 AM, 4 AM. And, yeah, 45 minutes to go to race start at Melbourne. Remember, we do have someone from the community down at the track today. They've got a poster shouting out the stream. Is anyone feeling like Cadillac are doing a little bit embarrassingly also? Many seconds off the pace. I mean, I suppose they haven't really talked big game, but at some point it's going to become not a very good look for Cadillac. They don't want to be in their just taking part crowd. That's certainly not how they approach racing elsewhere. This is probably the most difficult form of racing that they're doing. Will rear tyre deg be a big factor? Considering the interesting about rear tyre deg is going to be there's a lot going on the rear axle. So the the rear tyre becomes even more important this year. And we might see some funny business when it comes to compounds and which compounds work best. Eric, I feel like the engine power is definitely bad. By the way, I'm not in Melbourne, I'm in Canada. Okay. And Chai says, quite honestly, all of the teams minus Mercedes are predicting results too differently from last year. Yeah, I guess. I guess Ferrari at the moment are in a similar place to where they were last year. It seems. Potentially. Card side did the 1 week Apple TV free trial. Let us know how that goes. Bromy says Hajar P3 is insane. Yeah, probably not getting enough credit. Also question marks about where Max Verstappen would be. And where do we expect Max Verstappen to finish, by the way? Eric says Cadillac were a little overconfident on their entry. Yeah, no one's. I don't think anyone really anticipated that Cadillac will be so far off, though. So they'll need to find some pace and find some pace quick. They've welcomed the sky cameras into their garage, all around the back. Not interested in hiding anything. I mean, I don't think Mercedes would be letting the sky cameras around the back of the garage, like in the garage roaming about. But maybe they've got a long-term vision here. It's taken them a long time to get this license. 3:15 AM England time. Welcome SJ Band. Welcome Phoenix as well. So yeah, there's lots of variations here, but what are we going to see with Verstappen? That'll be a good test of the overtake function. Do we expect Verstappen to quickly make his way into the top 10? Gina hopes Max can finish high. Michael says P7, P8 Max. I think VCAR will let him past. Well, that'll be interesting as well. That's a good spot. Das Philpott says, what's everyone's thoughts on the new cars? What is everyone's thoughts on new cars? So, the big sentiment online, I would say outside of these streams, and we haven't really seen these streams, but there's massive sentiment online about clipping, and I guess from our perspective it doesn't matter as much because it's the same issue for all drivers, so it doesn't affect the parity of the racing. You just got to deal with it. But I think people watching visually are like, oh, there's a lot of clipping. But the drivers that manage the clipping better, the teams that manage it better, and I'm sure the teams will all work it out, are gonna be the fastest. It sounds like there's going to be huge gains there. Eric, does anyone know the date of the Canadian Grand Prix? I don't know exactly when it is in Montreal. I think it's moved around the calendar in recent times. Welcome, Vibby. Did anyone hear a specific problem with Max's car? Yeah, software issue. Software issue confirmed on Max's car. Professors, I got a feeling that we'll have some shenanigans at the front. What if the 2026 engines were V10s? Well, then they would sound fantastic. There is an interesting point, which is that why when you step back a little bit, why are we doing hybrid engines in Formula 1? Like, has Formula 1 ever been that relevant to road cars, or does it just pretend that it is relevant to kind of justify its existence? Because when you step back a bit, the idea that Formula 1 is hybrid does seem a bit of a nonsense. Gina says, any thoughts on Hajar so far? Well, we've seen him last season, and I've been very impressed with him last season. So it looks like the cars are going to be making their way to the pit lane. Sorry, to the they'll be doing installation laps. They'll actually be going through the pit lane before they take their place on the grid. Welcome, Professor. Formula 1 is slowly becoming Formula E. The thing is, Formula E is set up for electric racing, so the batteries are massive.
Okay, crack on.
So Formula E has massive batteries. And when you think of it, I think it actually makes Formula E actually more impressive that they can do a whole race and they're not doing all, you know, they manage all of that during the whole race. Whereas Formula 1, it just seems a bit of an annoyance having to charge the batteries, to be honest. That's the thing. Being at Max rear diff left the chat. Yeah, it looks like a software issue. Also, a lot of people saying that if the battery is too full, if you so you want to start, let's say at Melbourne, you want to start a lap, you want to deploy your battery throughout the lap. But if you start with the battery too full, when you go into turn 1, the rear axle will stop regenerating the battery, and therefore it will stop essentially adding deceleration to the car. It'll stop decelerating the car. So you don't want to have the battery too high. So you have to get the battery in a sweet spot. It's not just you can be like, oh, I did a great job charging the battery. Morning, Elite Rider. Anand says Max might be caught up at the back and may crash to that. Yeah, potentially. Why is the icon so It's probably just all catching up at the beginning. Oh, Piastri's off! Piastri's off! Piastri's off! Is that damage? Is that damage? Piastri's off, everyone! This is huge! Piastri's off! Piastri's off! Right, so we've seen this before. We've seen this before. They should be able to recover that car to the grid. Oh gosh, the front nose cone is off Oscar Piastri. And I think he's got a puncture on the front right. So there is some damage on that car. They'll have to try and fix it very soon. The home hero here, Oscar Piastri, who went off last year in the rain. What happened here? Don't tell me it's on the rear axle. Oh my goodness. Well, firstly, it's actually a fairly decent crash in the front right. I think he might be out. I think he might be out there. I think he might be out because I'm not sure they're going to be able to recover that car and fix it all within the time available. Just got on the power too early, I think, on the curb. But you have to say, you can't be crashing on the sighting laps here. That's not okay. I know the track is safe, but you can't be crashing on these laps. That's an amateur mistake. So it's a fairly big crash. The rear of the no. Right rear suspension's gone as well. That car's toast. That car is toast, everyone. Oscar Piastri is absolutely done. Piastri's done. Such a shame, really, for Piastri there. Just want to try and work something out here. But unfortunately, we've had some drama already. Just bear with me as I try and get our standings up here. There we go. Yeah, confirmation. Did something happen? He lost it on the exit curb at turn 4 doing a shift. So that was Lando Norris asking what's happened. Michael can't believe it. Valvey, welcome Valvey, good to see you, that's grim. Eric says recoverable. I don't think it's recoverable, no. I think the rear suspension is gone. So many people have turned up. Oscar Piastri fans having their burgers. And now said Montoya. And Oscar Piastri's front wing is still on the circuit, which will need to be recovered. Of all of the drivers who you'd expect to crash here on the sighting laps, you wouldn't expect it to be Piastri, but that's what's happened. Welcome Tony Chu. Any predictions of top 3? I would say Russell, Antonelli, and I'll go Leclerc. Yeah, red flag on the... Well, they're actually... Ironically, there is no red flag. Unless you saw a red flag there, there's a yellow flag, but everyone is still just doing the installation laps, just avoiding Piastri's front wing. I guess the reason for that is that at some point the track will be closed and the cars will be on the grid and they'll have plenty of time to recover that. So it's not a red flag. I can tell you that cars are still circulating. Just adjust this slightly. Let's get this just right for you. Bear with me. Okay. We'll move that. Subscriber box. Perfect. That's what we like to see. Yeah, embarrassment. Medical car's been deployed as well. Welcome, Red to Pat, your first season. Well, you'll remember when Oscar Piastri binned it on the sighting laps. What's going on right now? The cars are going around, just getting some data, checking everything's working. They're driving through the pit lane, you might see if you're eagle-eyed. And at some point, in a couple of minutes, I think, they'll just line up on the grid for the grid procedure. And which has a great start in the F1 cars. Yeah, I wonder if there'll be a bit of a blame game there. Or if Piastri will come out and say, no, that was all my fault. Professing Zach Brown is blushing. Yeah, I mean, oh dear. Gnarly, can't believe it's not on TV here. Mind us where you're watching from? Tony, what happened with Oscar? Oscar lost it driving around to the grid, essentially. Had a big crash and is out of the Grand Prix. I can't believe I'm saying this. And yeah, Lance Stroll is out on circuit. No rain predicted, I believe. A little bit warmer today though, 23 degrees air temp. Yesterday it was 20. It's on F1 TV in the state. Sorry, it's on Apple TV now. Oscar was possessed by the ghost of Lance Stroll. Well, I just can't believe that's happened, really. There's no need for it. Eric, I'm not going to say it's not going to... Piastri's not going to be able to do it anymore. He's not going to start the race. No, that's not repairable for me. I don't even think the car's really recoverable. I know these things have happened before, like Verstappen at Hungary. But I think those cars, and also Vettel, didn't happen. I think those cars have made it to the grid. This car has not made it to the grid. Car says Sainz made it around, but he's back in pits for start. Yeah, Carlos Sainz did not take part in qualifying yesterday. It was a fairly big crash, yeah. It was a fairly big crash. Where to watch in India? I'm not sure. Not sure what the official broadcaster is out there. If anyone knows, then let us know. Keep trying. So yeah, going to be 58 laps today, and it looks like drivers are now making their way to the grid, as you can see. Wisen's still mad that I can't watch on ESPN. Yeah, no more ESPN this season. Remember the good old days of backup cars? Yeah, back in the day they were backup car, but the costs were higher. That also would have been easier for Mercedes yesterday when Kimi bin the car in FP3. But the reason we don't have them is costs. Keep costs down. In Formula E they actually do have spare cars, but they're shared between multiple teams, so you can imagine that the livery people have to work really quickly on those. Gina says, was that Oscar's fault or the car? I'm sure that will come out, but to me, it kind of looked a bit like driver error. Norris was told it was due to some shifting that Oscar was doing. Thanks, Alan, appreciate it. Welcome, Wacky. When does it start? Let me let you know. In half an hour. Half an hour now. It is starting. Now, what happened with Oscar car again? He lost it on the exit of 4. He was actually all the way through 4. He was just making his way over for 5, and was on the curb on the outside. And someone interesting with Alpine. Is Oscar Piastri's old team is walking behind him, kind of like protecting him from the camera people. So not sure why there's an Alpine team member there. They were saying, hey Oscar, do you want to join us? We've also got the Mercedes engine. There was also a McLaren that was kind of stationary on the pit exit, and I wonder if that was Piastri earlier. In fact, yeah, was it Piastri? I'm just going to check. I know, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't Piastri who was stationary. Piastri did have issues on FP1, if anyone remembers. I know a lot of people here were in FP1 with us. Professor saying, looked like he just clipped the curb on the outside and the rear spun, causing oversteer. It looks like a mistake that you'd expect anyone other than a top-level Formula 1 driver to make, to be honest. The physics of it all makes sense as a mistake. Andrew says driver, yeah, to me, very different to the Verstappen crash yesterday in qualifying. And yeah, really, if so, very embarrassing moment for Oscar Piastri. Dad said F1 will never be the sound of late 1890s, sound of V12s and V12s and V10s. Well, if they go back, then it would. And you do have V12s in the World Endurance Championship. The World Endurance Championship is not bigger than Formula 1. Eric, question for everyone. Who do you think is going to be team of the race? Yeah, feel free to answer that, everyone. I mean, I'm going to say Mercedes. Black says your brain's still sleeping. Yeah, it's early. We're all committed, though. See, we were ahead of everyone. Imagine everyone's that's sleeping. They don't know. They probably think, oh, I wonder how Oscar's going to do in this race. And they don't know that Oscar Piastri, unfortunately, has been the car before the race even started. It's on Isaac Hadjar. Found it on a Canadian channel, Osu Steve says, and Professor saying the turbo is very powerful. The turbo is very important this year. Anan says F1 way important than sleep. Get your priorities right there. Fantastic. Hulkenberg noted infringement, starting procedure infringement. So maybe there's been an issue with Nico Hulkenberg. I'm not sure. Hopefully not an issue, another problem for the Audi where it's run out of its own power and need to be pushed in. Carl went back and watched Piastri crash, was flashing light on the cockpit. Wouldn't that be the G impact indicator? I'm not sure. I don't know what flashing light you're referring to in the cockpit. The cars now have hazard lights outside the cockpit. Yeah, has anyone slept or anyone just stayed awake? Eric has to stay awake to see the results. Welcome MT. Chai went to sleep at 9:30 last night to get some rest. That's very sensible. So you've prepped. So you're probably the most alert. Anand didn't sleep. It was on front edge of cockpit opening. Okay, I'll try and have to look at that. Gina, 9 PM in Texas, all good. Jacob, why is Verstappen in 20th? Because Verstappen binned it in qualifying yesterday. Now, Martin Brundle on the grid today. We've got the A-team. Welcome, GameCat from Koval Straight. GameCat, we got to sort out something for Vegas. If you're on Koval, you got an apartment there. We got to sort something out. We got to stream from your place for the Vegas GP. I was in Vegas a couple of months ago. We got to get it done. If you're on Koval. Jack Attack 9:30 having a beer. Very nice. Prime time. Andrew, got a feeling we're going to have a lot of the problem crashing out if we start the race. It's an interesting point, isn't it? But to me it seemed like driver error, but we will see. Thanks Durban. Big up Kireth, no sleep babysitting. Yep. That's how we roll. Carl says a new lateral safety lights which have been added to the mirrors will be visible on the side on the front. Oh, okay, so you can see them inside. Yeah, and Andrea Stella that I was getting a migraine from what you saw Oscar Piastri do. Can't believe it. They've come all this way with that car for this race, and they're not even going to take part in it. You couldn't write it, really. GameCat, your balcony faces the wrong way. Can we use, like, a couple of really long mirrors? Volkanovski's down on the grid? S-Band, why did it show Piastri is out? I've got some bad news for you if you've just joined. Question now, is Norris going to be careful? Well, we were talking about this yesterday. I don't think there's much you can do to really change the way you drive. You can't second guess the car. You can't second guess the car, so I would say probably not. And they won't... I doubt they'll want to change... I don't know whether they change anything or not. The only thing the team could do if they think there's an issue is box him as a precaution. I don't think you can change too much the way he drives. Real Emmy says, is it true my Pookie crashed out? Again, I got some bad news for you. Why do F1 cars not have brake lights? They have, interestingly, they now have brake lights of sorts because they do flash when they're regenerating. I think the flashing speed is different according to different types of regen. Yeah, it's interesting why they don't have traditional brake lights. It would make it pretty interesting as a viewer and helpful as a viewer to see who's braking where. That's what I've always thought. As in, and when I say viewer, I mean actually at the track. Andrew, is the new battery charging while they're too busy? Not the best idea. Well, we were saying earlier, does Formula 1 need to be so electric when you zoom out? Does it need to be at all? Wonder who's on the grid today. Piastri car still on track now. It'll be on the side of the track. It'll have been recovered by now. And I'm sure the track will be clear already. Eric, I think it should still be combustion. Yeah, I just feel like Formula E is for me is great electric racing. And Formula 1, you know, and if you're a manufacturer and you want to, you know, have, you know, be showing what you can do in racing using battery power, you should have a Formula E team. With that said, Formula E has only in relative recent years started to open up manufacturers being able to then drivetrains, etc. There's still a huge amount of spec element there. So maybe there needs to be more communication between Formula E and Formula 1, but I think Formula 1 should just be the fastest cars that sound really good. Gamecat just saw the Piastri oopsie. What do you think about that? Simon says go back to V8s. Welcome Indy as well. Professor comparing, yeah, Piastri is not going to be starting there, so Lance Stroll will be classified ahead of Oscar Piastri. That can be confirmed now. Trying to spot if there's anyone on the grid that I recognise. Normally not very good at that. Don't know if anyone saw my interview with Jaden Smith on the grid when I didn't really know who Jaden Smith was. Boosted says, where's Audi? 10th and 11th Audi, but Hulkenberg is under investigation at the moment for a starting procedure infringement. Welcome Jeton from Houston, Texas. Professor says that Formula 1 should get away from hybrid electric. I mean, money will talk here. If they feel like the as they would call it, the product, if they feel like the product is suffering, they'll change it. Oh, Lawrence Stroll. I'm going to listen into this because Brundle's talking to Lawrence Stroll. So just relaying what Lawrence Stroll said on the grid, he said they are going to, both Aston Martins are going to try and run the race distance. So we'll see whether that's true or he's just straight up lying. And he said he hopes they're going to fix the issue as soon as possible. So I guess said everything that you might expect. Terry Crews on the grid as well. I've seen Terry Crews at so many races. Seems to be a really big F1 fan. I remember seeing him at Hungary a few years ago. He drove the car at Vegas last year, I believe. Big Mr. Cruz. Blueberry Piastri crashed. Yes, indeed. Piastri has crashed. Piastri is out. Is there any chance my Pookie gets to race? No, I would say. Absolutely none. Carl, when will the partnership with Toyota start to pay off for Haas? Well, it's already kind of... They're already in the midfield, I would say. Keep an eye out for Haas in this race with that Ferrari engine. The aero on the Mercedes safety car is absolutely insane, by the way. Bert Marlander driving it. The other safety car driver is Bruno Carrera, and I've got some interviews with him I'll be releasing on Formula Fan TV. Carl says Haas is always in the mid-pack. Yeah, Haas, you just never know whether a Haas is going to pop into Q3 or not. Or whether a Haas is going to have a good race or not. It must be really good fun being a Haas fan. Like, probably the best team to be like a hardcore fan of is probably Haas, because you just don't know which way it's going to go, and you're probably always like scrapping for something. Hannah McGarry, good to see you again. To be honest, I would love to see Arvid on podium. Something big happens. Miss Lindblad has been looking strong throughout the weekend. Professors, I think the rookies have a good time today, but how many rookies? What? Fernando and Lindblad? Has the race started? No, it hasn't started yet. I reckon we're probably about 15 minutes away. Someone will be able to confirm in the chat. Eric, I say we were reduced battery combustion. Yeah. A question mark whether they need hybrid at all. I don't know. They talk about all the cost cap and everything, but the hybrid just adds so much complication. Wisen saying Hadjar's going to win it. You know what? If the Mercedes have an issue, we talk about reliability, it's going to be one of those races that we just won't know right till the end how it goes. Simon says, if only Liam Lawson was English, Sky Sports were talking about it more than once a race. Well, I think Liam Lawson needs to kind of get himself talked about. And most of the weekend he's been beaten by Arvid, but it mattered. He did it when it counted, which is in Q3. Is Batman going to try racing? I don't think the Batmobile is a hybrid, actually. So not eligible. Yeah, so much of the development as well goes into that hybrid system. All the celebrities have kind of been corralled. Pat Cummins, Australian cricket captain. He's on the circuit. He could probably bowl faster than the Cadillacs and go down the straight at the moment with the limiting. National Anthem. Is it a banger? Is the Australian National Anthem a banger? We've got to do this all the way through the season. I think someone's got a didgeridoo there. So I think that automatically gives it credit. But I don't know whether Australian National Anthem is banger or not. What do we think? Oh, Behrman, not Batman. Okay. Behrman is going to race. Yeah, Behrman's Haas is actually eligible and on the grid. And I'm saying Australia one of the best. Can we get some confirmations on that? Is Australian National Anthem a banger? Simon's saying Arvid's doing fine. Liam will look after him. I'm not sure. I think it's interesting when you're the Red Bull driver that's been demoted to Racing Bulls. What are you racing for? Because do you really think you're going to get ever put back in the Red Bull? So do you go out there and enjoy every moment? Oh, the fighter jets go above. Alan says great in history, maybe. And Michael, yeah, banger, we had to learn it in primary elementary school. We had to sing it as Monday morning assembly. Singing that banger every day, getting you hyped up. Everyone's buzzing after it. Everyone's like, yeah, let's go. Welcome, Yanis Suliga. Early morning. Carl says Australian National Anthem is sung in French. That cannot be true. That cannot be true. That cannot be true. V-Neck Lawson's going to need to buy himself a Kardashian. What? What's a Kardashian? Okay, not too long to go now till race start, everyone. Risk of rain, you can see, is 0%. And sunny on the circuit at the moment. 23, 24 degrees. Zach Brown and James Voles were having a spirited chat, maybe talking about being Mercedes customers. And how they both can't seem to extract the power that Mercedes mysteriously can extract from their own engine. Eric says, for you, since because I'm actually middle school, but you will do it every morning, you rise from National Anthem, take off, you're happy, respectful and all that stuff, and then you can sing along if you want. Landon saying Kireth lives under a rock. Yeah, confirmed. I'm literally, I actually live in a rock. This is carved out of rock. I don't know what goes on in the real world other than what happens on racing tracks. I just don't know. Okay, they're going to start clearing the grid soon, I think, and then we're going to get underway here at Australia 58 laps. We are streaming from London here. Adrian Newey has been wandering around, having a look at other cars. Does he have his clipboard in hand? He does have his clipboard in hand and he's writing on it. Oh, the Audi. How do Audi get there? You know what? I feel harsh saying this, but Adrian Newey has commandeered a team that by all accounts have built a terrible car by the standards of F1 this season, and he's cutting about the grid, writing on a notebook, and he's writing left-handed, so it's kind of like you can easily see what he's writing. When there's cameras everywhere, it just seems like something's not in the modern day there. Something's not quite right. Coasting, how is crashing before the race even possible? Well, they weren't. Piastri wasn't coasting. Carl says, Zach says, I don't know the cause of Piastri crash. He jumped out too quick with no feedback. Well, they haven't spoken to Piastri yet. They don't know where he is. Am I coming to the US Sim Racing Expo? Yeah, if I can work out travel and accommodation, it'd be good to work with a brand to help on the costs. And it would be good to go out. Simon says S3G will be fastened into those cars. Get Shane in here. What position are the Audis in? Eric, the standings are literally on screen, bro. I think Newey's right on that. I know, but the thing is, I mean, there'll be photos of what Newey finished writing, but it started with like, how did Audi get? So unless he's playing some 8D chess and he wants the world's media to see what he's writing, because maybe he's seen something illegal on the Audi car. But if it's something that's meant to be like, you know, a secret question to his Aston Martin team, well, the whole world is seeing what he's written. So that's why I just think it's a bit old school. You know, he's got a headset on. He could whisper into the headset to his team and say, guys, Audi have got this. But to write it on a notepad, just seems a bit odd. How did Audi get? All we saw was how did Audi get? So, what do you think Adrian Newey's written in the comments there? GameCat says, how did Audi get such delicious croissants? Could be that. That could be the question. Which again would maybe, you know, raise eyebrows at whether Aston Martin have focused on the right things this season. As George Russell puts his hairband on. Earbuds, hairband, balaclava. That's how we go. That's how we roll for George Russell. The Expo is sending a package for Expo NASCAR Hall of Fame and NASCAR for you. I saw that. The thing is at these expos is, it's like, all the expos partner with like one of the big sim racing media companies, and so I feel like there's some conflicts of interest sometimes, because I want to go there and interview people and scrutinise sim racing and ask the questions people want to be asked, but there's a perverse incentive where the conferences kind of want just glossy coverage and they don't want awkward questions. Did Piastri crash? Yes, got some bad news to you, Piastri fan. Piastri is out of this race. And also, Nico Hülkenberg is showing us in the pit. And remember, we did see that there was a infraction being noted. So it might be that another issue for the Audi here after Bortoleto yesterday, as Audi is sponsoring Formula 1. You can sponsor Formula 1 all you want, but if your cars are pretty pants in F1, kind of undermines the whole message, Audi. 8 minutes till we get going in Melbourne. Thank you so much everyone for joining us here. Yeah, it would be pretty cool to see NASCAR. I was meant to go to the NASCAR finals last year actually, but there was a slight clash with the birth of my child, so birth 1 that time. Videk, I'm waiting to watch NASCAR at some point the way F1 is looking. Chai, as far as I said, P1 will be just left open. Yeah, normally none of the drivers move up. That would just cause chaos. So you just keep your grid squat. Juan Pablo Montoya is on the ground as well. Eric says Audi's introduced a lot into rally motorsport and GT3, so very interesting. Yeah, but they pulled out of GT3. They're not in rally. They've pulled out essentially they've pulled out of WEC because it's the same company as Porsche. So for me, at the moment, Audi and Formula 1 is not a natural fit. They'll have to really be in for the long term to make me associate that. And Professor confirming that Nico's car is being pulled into the pits. Maybe a similar issue there. So hopefully for Audi's sake they can get that started. Welcome Susie K. Nali says NASCAR isn't racing, it's bumper car. Still sounds great to me, to be honest. Adav, if you want to watch stuff free, make sure you subscribe, because yesterday we did the Daytona 200 with the footage. So the more people subscribe, the more we can do stuff like that. Boosted, what's your deal with the Audi hate? I've never said I hate Audi. As far as I'm aware, I don't hate Audi. But they are pulling Nico Hülkenberg's car into the pits, which is slightly embarrassing. Aid says, now the season starts, and as always, as a first choice, watching Kireth and sharing it with everyone here. Thanks so much, Aid. Appreciate it. Goodness, we haven't done Nations Check yet. What am I doing? Chat, let's do a Nations Check, okay? Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Welcome Yolanda Vestig as well. Chai's Air, Netherlands, Vlak, Croatia, Anan, India, Thalia from Greece. One to Piastri, Piastri crashed already. Eric, Canada, Nali, USA, Susie, UK, Jack, Attack, Texas, Carl, US, Iowa, Adav, Abu Dhabi, me of United States, Douglas from Shanghai, Yolanda, Netherlands, Swanep, Nepal, Tony from USA, Ghost Rebarb, Iowa, USA, Gamecat, USA, Michael from Australia, Thalia from Greece again, Michael, Maryland, and Eric just confirming, if we were under any doubt, that you are watching from Canada. Jew is dazed and confused. Welcome. Don't worry, we all are. Wisp Spark Media from Australia, and Linville Green from Jamaica. Very nice. Zach Kingston. Gina from Texas. Crocodile from Huntsville. Wang Kenneth watching Kireth from Taipei, Taiwan. Maybe I'll be in Taiwan later for Computex, we'll see. Kelly watching from UK. Aid in a park in Osaka. Very nice. It's a day of rest. And Noah from Netherlands at 4:55. Well done for waking up at your own alarm on a Sunday. Feels weird, right? Boosted from Las Vegas. Linva Ice, Montego Bay. And Tony's also from Taipei, Taiwan, but moved to America Floyd from Philippines. Michael, how many cars finishing this race? Oh, Hulkenberg does not start. Haters will accuse me of talking down an Audi. I'm being harsh there, but yeah, so not looking good for Audi here. Hulkenberg not starting again, coming all that way. That plays into the previous question from Michael, which is how many cars do we think are going to finish? I'm going to say 14. I want to get a sweepstake here. Put the number of cars that you think are going to finish the race. I'm going to put 14. Welcome, Catherine Jason from Oman. Yeah, great timing in China. Potentially I might be in China in Sanya, maybe, for Formula E, which would be great. MT saying 10. Hannah McGarry saying 17. No one had 2 hours sleep. Look at you with 2 hours sleep. Showing off. Y16, Coasting 16, Anad 18. Lee Cassie 12. Michael 12, Carl 15. I remember I went 14, Gina 18. 18 is, Gina, a couple more cars and we've already hit 18 because... So, you know, Piastri's not starting. Hulkenberg's not starting, so we've only got 20 cars starting. Carlos Sainz didn't even start qualifying, so if he has an issue, that's 19. Lance Stroll didn't start qualifying. If he has an issue, which I think, I don't know what the odds are there, but that'll be 18. So only anyone else has an issue. So, what's the Dutch live blog saying? Because we want to go to the true oracle here. Is there a chance he's going to race or not? Welcome V5 Cog, and can they just start him halfway through and just treat it as a test session? Do you remember we had this in... Where did we have it? Where one of the drivers just treated it as a test session, as a practice session. Just ignored qualifying. There was some absolute genius at a race last year. I can't remember where it was, but we definitely covered it on stream. And I made a video on it. I think, was it Abu Dhabi or something? Where they just treated it as a test? Was it Lance Stroll? Who was like, screw it, I'm just going to do as many laps here.
Keep trying.
And China saying no, name will be crossed out for this race. P11 will remain empty. So Hulkenberg confirmation there. Seems Hulkenberg not entering the Australian Grand Prix. Welcome, Content Machine. Good to see you again from Swiss. It starts in 3 minutes. One more favour, by the way. If you don't mind, share the stream as well. Even if you're on YouTube, there's a little share button underneath. Just hit that share button. You can share it on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, on all of those platforms. You can tag me in it, just in case your mates are up. And imagine your mates are up. They've woken up early, and they're just, you know, no one else is up, and they're making, you know, having some cereal and just sitting there looking out the window. It's all dark. Imagine they could also be in here as Max Verstappen takes out a big bag of ice, dry ice from his cockpit. We're going to get underway very soon. I think there's going to be some red flags here as well. Obviously, that might go hand in hand, as you expect, with the amount of cars that are going to finish. And expecting the formation lap to start imminently. Hannah, do you think Bahrain and Saudi were going to go ahead? I don't think they should go ahead. There's no need to race there. Like, you don't need to bring all these people and all these fans to what is currently a war zone. Just make the big call, make the difficult call, and call it now. That's what I would do if I was in charge of Formula 1. Is Mercedes only going to get banned? It's not going to get banned, but there is going to be a different testing procedure from June, albeit it's only going to be tested at 130 degrees for the compression ratio. Yeah, formation lap underway. Green lights in there as the Rolex hits 3 o'clock local time. Great to have you all with us as well. I hope you're looking forward to what's going to be a very interesting race. Could be attritional. We'll see whether Isaac Hadjar can finish on the podium. And something else to think about, if there are going to be red flags, we might see the Mercedes, you know, keep building gaps, but then a red flag or safety car, those gaps will get reduced. So we might see plenty of restarts from the Mercedes. I also wonder whether we'll see, potentially, I want to say this now, on the record, we'll see Antonelli go for a crazy move on Russell and they both crash. because that would be sensational. And let's be honest, Antonelli kind of feels like he does what he wants. Welcome Gamer FF. Are you new to Formula 1? Because if you are, we'll guide you through. Don't worry about it. Yeah, this is what I bought, or was a gift actually, a couple of years ago for the late night streams. So it just stays here for the late night streams. Alexandra, can't believe it happened to Oscar. I know. I can barely believe it. Amateur mistake, really, it seems. And I'm saying Hamilton already complaining. And Colapinto also getting noted for a starting procedure infringement. Adav, when do you think Max is going to finish on the great question? Let's see. Max, I'm going to say P4. The thing is with Max is, again, I think there's going to be red flags here in safety cars, and again, that'll bunch everything up, so we'll have good opportunities. But let's see. Equally, Max could also bin it again. What's the formation lap? Basically, the cars leave the grid, they go around, they warm the tyres up, warm everything up, and they're now stationary. And what's going to happen here is there's going to be red lights. The red lights are going to go out. They don't go to green. They just go out. And when they're out, the race starts, which is quite interesting. In some races I do, I have to wait for a green. So it can get a bit confusing. And what's going to happen here is the standings are going to go before me. So I'm going to call it as I see it. Welcome, White and Harmson. You'll actually be a little bit ahead of me. So we are moments away from the Australian Grand Prix starting here. And interestingly, when the cars go stationary on the grid, all the hazard lights start flashing. Now this is going to be interesting because the turbo spooling up we think is an issue, and we suspect that the Ferrari engine cars may have a little bit of an advantage. So let's see if that comes true, as Lance Stroll at the back is crawling to the grid, and the cars at the front will have been waiting a long time. Honestly, Kimi Antonelli is very angled towards George Russell. I've got a bad feeling about this start, I have to say. I really think this could be an embarrassing moment for Formula 1, but let's see. The marshal behind waves the green flag as I see it. Now has an FIA logo on it, weirdly. Pre-start lights up, and we have, what do we have? 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red light. Oh, very quickly go out. Very quickly. And ton of wheel spin for everyone. A messy start. Isaac Hadjar is going to try and go for the lead here, but gets knocked out by the Ferraris. And as we predicted, the Ferraris have had an incredible start. And it's Charles Leclerc, believe it or not, who exits turn 1 in the lead, everyone. And I think Kimi Antonelli's had a terrible start. It's a very messy start. That needs to be fixed in the future because we're going to have massive accidents. It's going to turn into Spa 98. No doubt about that. But off goes Charles Leclerc ahead of George Russell. Kimi Antonelli's been swallowed up. He's now racing with a Haas. And it's a shame for Oscar Piastri because Piastri might have been able to benefit, but he is not taking part in this race. Isaac Hadjar, meanwhile, is in P3. And I think it's either Lindblad. Lindblad, sensationally, is up to P3. Lindblad has had one of the generational starts of our time. Arvid Lindblad is up to P3, everyone. Liam Lawson's had a terrible start by the looks of things. And we'll see what happens to both Aston Martins. But Fernando Alfonso is up into P10. And Hamilton couldn't quite get the same start that his teammate Charles Leclerc had. But now he's getting past Hadjar and he's going to get past Lindblad as well. So Hamilton goes up to P3. And I'm going to try and catch up with his standings. Yeah, we can see Hamilton is in P3. So the Ferraris are looking strong. We could be looking at a Lewis Hamilton championship here this year if the Ferraris are going to stay strong. And look how bad Kimi Antonelli has lost out. And Charles Leclerc is opening up a big gap. But now George Russell, looks like George Russell gets past. Or they're battling each other. But it looks like Russell is going to get past him. They might be going side by side. And is this now going to be the true Mercedes pace? We will see. Can't tell who's in the lead here between Russell and Leclerc, but Russell does get it done at some point. What happened here with Charles Leclerc and George Russell? Overtake was enabled, so that was all before overtake mode. Welcome, Ben Tomlinson. And a massive gap out there, and Lewis Hamilton is also on the charge, and there's a little bit of an Isaac Hadjar train, dare I say. So Russell and Leclerc went side by side. Leclerc went defensive. Remember, this is all, a lot of these regulations designed to make overtaking a bit easier, and then George Russell did get it done fairly easy actually. So you can see Hamilton set the fastest lap last time around. Yeah, there was some wheel-to-wheel action between George Russell and Charles Leclerc. Are we going to see Russell check out now? That's the question. And you can see there's a bit of a Colapinto train. Verstappen's got ahead of that. But Arvid Lindblad is a big surprise package here, running ahead of Lando Norris and Kimi Antonelli. How many people had him down for that? And Fernando Alonso has started on the soft tyre, but at the moment is running in P10 in that Aston Martin. Anna says Ferrari goated. Professor's on board with Hamilton. How is that Ferrari looking? Is it looking pretty planted? Welcome, Gabriella. Good to see you again. Supporting, saying Hamilton 44. Please, Hamilton podium before GTA 6. Yeah, Kimi got swallowed up there. Colapinto is under investigation for that starting procedure infringement. Wouldn't be Colapinto without a visit to the stewards. So let's see what happens there. And Leclerc has got past Russell again. Well, who had that down in the books? Leclerc has got past Russell. Is this the power of the overtake? If you've got charge in the battery, it was a big overtake from Leclerc round the outside in turn 10. So not where you normally see an overtake there. Absolutely fantastic. And Russell tried to get back, but Leclerc went defensive. There's some great battling between Charles Leclerc and George Russell, and if you're a Formula 1 executive, you're loving this, because we do actually have wheel-to-wheel racing, and ultimately that is what we want to see in Formula 1. I think we can accept practice being a bit more, you know, with soft clipping, whatever they call it, super clipping. But the racing here so far has been very good. Michael says, tears of joy. Police is prime Lewis Hamilton coming back. Professor saying Lewis catching up. That's why we've got Lewis's helmet here. Let's see the spirit of Lewis. And are we going to see more swapping positions between Russell and Leclerc? But as they battle, Hamilton's catching up. Hadjar, Lindblad and Antonelli, meanwhile, are dropping, believe it or not, Lando Norris. And Russell will try and get it done in 11, but what's been happening previously is that the driver in the lead into 11 has just been going really defensive. Jupiter saying some beautiful wheel-to-wheel. Yeah, there's some great battling going on. Absolutely fantastic here. And you can already see that Perez and Bottas in the Cadillac are well off. But how can it be the case that Lance Stroll's all the way back there? The gap between Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso this year is going to be studied hard. Obnoxious says Leclerc. Leclerc with the fastest lap there. 124.5. Russell 124.7. Meanwhile, Antonelli gets past Lindblad. So potentially we might see Antonelli also joining the party at the front. Is there a lap when DRS starts, Carl? No more DRS. Word does not exist in the dictionary anymore. Michael says whoever wins Australia Round 1 typically wins championship. I don't know if you've got the data on that. Varad saying Verstappen. Verstappen up into P12. Yeah, got past Alfonso there. Alfonso's lost a few positions actually. So maybe the vibration's starting to hit. Lawrence Stroll said they're going to try and do the race distance. If both cars retire on the same lap, around the same lap, I will never believe anything Lawrence Stroll says. Because he looked Martin Brundle straight in the eye and said, yeah, we're going to try and do the race distance. And if it turns out that they were never going to do the race distance, as Gasly looks like he might have had an issue there. If it turns out they're never going to do the race distance, how can you trust anything he says? Ferrari P1 and P2, not at the moment. Hamilton looks like he's biding his time. And Hamilton saying deployment is quite long. So maybe some deployment issues, not sure. Meanwhile, Antonelli will be trying to get past Isaac Hadjar. Yeah, Piastri crashed on the way to the grid. Hulkenberg's Audi broke down. So we've already had 2 casualties there. No casualties in the race so far. Credit to everyone, even though the start was extremely messy and chaotic. And we think this is due to the Ferrari turbo spooling up much quicker. But Antonelli had a real terrible start. Antonelli bogged down, and that caused chaos. And it looked like Charles Leclerc knew that from where he was, he'd be able to get the lead of the race into or around the exit of turn 1 if everything went well, because he was really setting that up from a long time ago. What happened to Oscar? Piastri crashed before the race even started, is what happened here. And you can see the Perez and Bottas pace is matching each other, and Lance Stroll dropping off the back of that. And also Fernando Alonso dropping back as well now. Remember, Alonso on soft tyre here. Verstappen, interestingly, we haven't even talked about this, started on the hard tyre. We'll try and get past Bortoleto here. I'm sure Bortoleto won't put up too much of a fight. Good friends they are. And Leclerc is still in the lead here. George Russell, not as I predicted, running away with this, because the Ferraris are looking good on this medium tyre. But they will need to use another compound in this race. So we'll see how this goes. Bro, Ferrari literally has a spinning grille. Yeah, you can put a chicken on there. Get a nice rotisserie. Carl says Leclerc just drove past everyone. And Vlatka's on Max watch. Max already P11 and it's a 6th lap only. Yes, indeed. So Verstappen is going to try and get past Behrman, Gasly and Ocon. And Verstappen and that Red Bull looking quick. Keep an eye on the lap times of Verstappen. 124.9 for Verstappen is pretty much the same place as Charles Leclerc. And he's on the hard tyre as well. So this looks pretty ominous for Max Verstappen. Remember that Max was my tip to win the whole season. Game Cat Stroll is clearly lulling the caddies into a fault. Yeah, Stroll is stalking his prey there. Stroll's playing the long game. No one beats Lance Stroll to P18. Codfane said hard tyre is the play for Max. Russell, that's very dangerous by Leclerc, especially what we spoke about in briefing. Well, George, you snooze, you lose. This is racing, my friend. So, fully legitimate by Charles Leclerc to me, no matter what may have or may not have been said in the briefing. And yeah, sorry for your Piastri fan, Megan Chandri, but he binned it on the opening lap. That said, Lando Norris is really not threatening, it seems, Arvid Lindblad here. And we're seeing Antonelli trying to get back and catch up with the top 3 drivers. Carl didn't see anything dangerous. He goes, Carl's investigated it. Carl, are you happy to close that investigation? Michael, can anyone confirm, does Hamilton have the same race engineer? He doesn't have the same, he's got a different race engineer. And also, Ferrari have hired Cedric Grosjean from McLaren, who's kind of shadowing that side of the garage. And so Ferrari are considering swapping in Cedric Grosjean as well, which might indicate a longer-term partnership with Lewis Hamilton past this season. Correcting Hamilton podium might be possible as George Russell gets past Charles Leclerc, but Leclerc gets him back as well. There was some good racing between Russell and Leclerc. We've already had more changes for the lead here than we've had in most Grand Prix in recent memory. I can't remember this many changes for the lead, only 8 laps into a Grand Prix. But Charles Leclerc was able to get George Russell back. Maybe that Ferrari is pretty good behind another car. Remember, so many of the aero regulation changes were made to enable and facilitate closer wheel-to-wheel racing, and it certainly seems like we've got that. Very tidy move from Leclerc, again getting it done just before turn 9. Professor's on board with Leclerc. Let us know what you're seeing there. Police says Verstappen P10 already. Yeah, it's the active aero is busily working. If that were to fail in any cars, where's Hamilton? Hamilton is all on the back of George Russell now. The top 3 are separated by less than a second. Less than a second between the top 3. So here comes Sir Lewis Hamilton. It is hammer time. George Russell, meanwhile, took the lead and locked up massively into turn 1. So Charles Leclerc got him back. There was a big lock-up from George Russell, even some sparking of the car. Maybe they're running that car very low. And that's why Lewis Hamilton is right up there. And Kimi Antonelli also joining the party. It's pretty incredible. The top 3 are nose to tail. Well, they were. Hamilton's just, well, not dropped off. Charles Leclerc has shot off a little bit. We're going to have 4 cars here battling for the lead. And we haven't seen this in Formula 1 for a very, very, very long time. A very long time. Carl says Lewis hunting for chance. is Lewis Hamilton going to get past his ex-teammate George Russell? There's a lot of storylines here. And his replacement is right behind him in Kimi Antonelli. It was interesting to see Russell lock up into turn 1. Seemed to be a little bit of a frustrating move. I think a penalty for Colapinto. And also a turn 11 incident for Leclerc noted. So not sure what that was in turn 11. Yeah, Hamilton saying to Antonelli, why are you coming fast? Because Antonelli is right there as well. And Antonelli has the fastest lap of the race at 23.6. Interestingly, the lap times have slowed in that top pack. So if you're Isaac Hadjar, you might be licking your chops at this. Because that top pack is all going to be scrambling potentially. Please, Alfonso definitely complaining about the Honda engine. Yep, you can see he's dropped back already. In fact, he's dropped back a lot. And I don't think they're going to make it all the way. Looks like Colapinto might have taken a stop-go. Yep, stop-go penalty taken for Colapinto. No way Lando is slower than most rookies. Well, we only have Lindblad, so you can't say most rookies. He's slower than all the rookies. Last year was at least 3 to 4 seconds faster. But to me, I've always been... That's kind of... It's not... for me, the racing takes priority over that, personally. How often they get to use the boost? I'm not sure exactly, but you need to make sure you actually have the capacity available in the battery. Like, the battery actually needs to have the power. Whether you're, by the rules, allowed to deploy or not is one thing. But then the battery fundamentally needs to have the power to deploy. GameCat says the McLaren is underwhelming so far. Michael Owusu, Anthony, I don't think can manage tyres better than Hamilton. I reckon they've asked him to catch up to Hamilton to force Hamilton into defending. Maybe. I think the front three were generally batting so much has helped Anthony catch up. And you can see the pace has increased now in that top pack. 123.9 from Leclerc. So real variation here on the lap times. Charles Leclerc saying W. Charles Leclerc. Charles, maybe concentrate on driving. You're in lead at the moment. Don't need to be on your phone. But if you're not driving, make sure you hit the like button, everyone. We want to get to like 500 likes today. Where is it? Down there. And make sure to subscribe as well if you're not subscribed, if you want to see more of these races throughout the season. Professor is glad Russell hasn't run away with it. Yeah, the Ferrari pace is real. Feel free to dream, Tifosi. Tivixio saying, I hope Russell wins, he deserves it. So Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Antonelli and Lindblad is still holding up Lando Norris. And here's an interesting story. Max Verstappen has got up to P7. So Max Verstappen is about VSC deployed here. VSC deployed. It's Hadjar. Hadjar's binned it, it seems, or had an issue. Hadjar's had an issue here. VSC deployed. Could convert to safety car. Are we in pit window? Lando Norris has pitted. Maybe that's sensational. Oh, Hadjar looks like maybe an engine issue. Looks like an engine issue for the Ford. The EcoBoost has gone up in flames. I'm never buying a Ford now. I was considering buying a Ford, but seeing this Ford-engined Aston Martin blow up, I'm like, I don't want that to happen to me while I'm on the M6. No, thank you very much. So, yeah, the Ford has gone kaput here. And great from Lando Norris, quick thinking, to box there if that works in the pit strategy. Lindblad didn't box, so the rookie's going to get... I don't know if you can call it an undercut, but yeah, he's lost out here. Interestingly, I don't think Verstappen pitted as well. So maybe Verstappen and Red Bull, maybe Red Bull were in chaos there, but they decided not to pit Verstappen. Police is sick and been coughing for a while. Sorry to hear that. Codfane says Russell doesn't deserve it. You know who does? Leclerc. Well, let's see. Wet belt disaster. Classic Ford reliability here. As Lance Stroll box as well and does come out. Oh yeah, good point. Max on hards. Yeah, great point. Max on hards. Max on hards. Still, it's not. It wouldn't be a free stop, but still potentially could adjust the strategy and maybe do a short do another stint on mediums and then go, if the hard looks like a very good race tyre, go on the hards at the end as well. Yeah, good point from Aid as well. Let's see if the small turbo helps the VSC restart. And I think, has Russell boxed there? Yeah, Russell's boxed. So the Ferraris have not boxed. Russell's boxed. Lindblad doesn't box. And Antonelli boxes. So Arvid Lindblad has not boxed, but finds himself up in P4 now. Meanwhile, the Mercedes have boxed. So, for the second year in a row, Hadjar is not going to complete the Australian Grand Prix. It was a big double stack by Mercedes, by the way. So Mercedes risked everything there to get that double stack in. And we're still under VSC. I wonder whether the Ferraris will box it and also double stack. We will see if the VSC continues. If the Ferraris decide to box and the VSC ends while they're in the pit lane, then that's classic Ferrari mismanagement. So, place your bets, everyone. What happened to Hadjar? The Ford engine exploded. Yeah, Suzy K says target 200 likes. Please do smack with target really is 500 likes. Welcome Olivia Gosval, Charles Leclerc, Buvant, and Sean Abbott as well, and Tavixio, Ashwin. Right, let's see. VSC currently still out because... Oh, they are wheeling the car back, but it's hot. The engine's on fire. But I would say that VSC is going to come in very soon. But the Ferraris might be supremely confident here on tyre wear. And maybe they want to actually just work together and extend the gap. Let's see. So there's been multiple opportunities where the Ferraris could have boxed under VSC. Michael Lewis says, please pit. Professor saying Ferrari doing Ferrari strategy. And Hamilton saying one of us should have come in. Yeah, they could have split strategy here. VSC now ending. And Ferrari declined, even though, believe this or not, the Ferrari mechanics were in the pits. The Ferrari mechanics were in the pit and they were shrugging like, where's the car? So, Ferrari gonna Ferrari, yo. And I think Lewis Hamilton needs to go from being a driver. He needs to become the team principal of Ferrari and sort all this out. Because, yeah, I don't see why one of them wouldn't pit. At least. Eric says it was bad. That's a bad move by Ferrari. Did not box at all. Vinecar saying Ferrari strategy bad to ruin this. Jupiter Ferrari, truly Ferrari. Let me know what you think of that Ferrari strat there in the comments. MT says Ferrari pits already. Team principal said no. Well, what's the chain of command at Ferrari? Don't tell me they're going to box now. Don't tell me they're going to box now, because this would be one of the stupidest things I will have ever witnessed. Do not box that Ferrari now. Do not do it. Okay, so they're going to go longer. Maybe, you know, if there's another VSC or safety car, they'll look like geniuses. But remember, they are right now being undercut. They are being undercut right now as it stands. Verstappen also did not pit, but he's on a hard tyre. And interesting, Lindblad declining the opportunity to pit as well. So Hamilton saying he's lost 10 seconds behind. Yeah, because of the... Oh, Alfonso being told, stop the car, we have an issue. So Lawrence Stroll, 15 laps in. Lawrence Stroll, I don't believe anything you say. Because you said they're going to run to the end. And I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think you knew. I think you knew that Alfonso was going to come in 15 laps. And let's see if Lance Stroll coincidentally also comes in a few laps. Yeah, so that Aston came into the pits. No, it's not. He hasn't stopped on circuit. He's come into the pits. Let's keep an eye on Lance Stroll as well. Because if Lance Stroll comes in the same lap, I believe nothing. No, Stroll does continue here. But yeah, Leclerc and Hamilton declining to box under the VSC. And what this means is, if one of them boxes without VSC, they're going to fall behind George Russell. And potentially even further behind. Yeah, they can pit any time, but the thing is, so what a virtual safety car does is it forces all the cars on track to drive slowly. Now, because when you go in the pit lane, you also have to drive slowly and stop for a few seconds. If everyone else on track is forced to drive slowly, you lose less time in the pit lane comparatively. So it's normally a good idea to pit when the virtual safety car's out, and that's exactly what Mercedes did, even to the extent they stopped both cars at the same time, which is a bit risky. Now, normally the pit loss here I'd say is about 20 seconds, give or take, and Hamilton's being told you're only 10 seconds ahead of George Russell. So if he boxes here, he's going to end up quite a bit behind George Russell. Does Max get a podium? Well, Max is P6. Surely team orders will take place now, and Arvid Lindblad will be asked to move over. But you have to remember also that Max is now a pit stop behind the Mercedes. Vibrations for Alfonso getting too much to try in the car. Lance Stroll is a bigger hard man than Fernando Alonso, confirmed. What are the lap times saying? Oh, the other thing is, Ferrari are just getting undercut here. So Ferrari are just getting massively undercut. Because although that gap was 10 seconds, it's already now 8.5. Because George Russell is setting fastest laps of the race. So I think Ferrari should have been a bit bolder there. And we've to say the least, we've seen this before from Ferrari. Meanwhile, Verstappen, I think, may have made a mistake because Oliver Behrman is... actually, no, maybe the standings not telling the entire story there. The general theme for Verstappen is he's been moving forward right from the back. What happened to Hadjar? The Ford engine blew up. Actually saying Hamilton seems to have more pace than Leclerc. Not sure about that. Not sure. Maybe Hamilton's able to conserve a bit easier, being in the slipstream of Charles Leclerc there. Is that Colapinto going slowly? I'm not sure. Remember, Colapinto's had to take a stop and go. And 17 laps in, we're about to see the first lapping of the race. Liam Lawson, by the way, is a pit stop ahead of Sergio Perez, which again shows you how poor the pace is on those Cadillacs. And Verstappen still hasn't got past Lindblad yet. Yeah, when you compare where Lawson's and Lindblad, and remember that Lawson did pit, but I think that was a VSC pit. So two complete opposite ends of the circuit. The rest thing, I think it was Hadjar's gearbox and not the engine. Okay, it was definitely smoky, but maybe it was the gearbox there. Actually says at least send one of those Ferraris in the pit. Well, they're a bit of a hostage to fortune now. I mean, it does depend on what happens if there's another safety car. If there's another safety car, perhaps they look like geniuses. Perhaps they feel like actually their pit window is super long. If the Ferraris feel like we can go super long on these mediums, then that changes the maths, doesn't it, on choosing to stay out. If they're anywhere near the end of their pit window, then it seems a bit daft, frankly. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're going to go super long. Has Valtteri Bottas had an issue here? I think Valtteri Bottas has had an issue. And is it potentially near the pit entry? Yellow flag at the moment. Bottas has had a problem, and I wonder if that Cadillac has had an issue. Because if he's hit the wall around the last corner, then that surely will be a VSC. VSC deployed. Ferrari have just gone past the pits again. So what's happened here with Valtteri Bottas? Oh my goodness. Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez are fighting together, but I want to see what happened with Bottas here, because VSC has been deployed. The fighting looks so awkward between Perez and... oh no, so Bottas has stopped on the grass just on pit entry. So he's not blocking the pits, but just on pit entry. That's a VSC at the moment, but I wouldn't be comfortable being a marshal pushing the car there because you're right next to some grass. So if someone makes a mistake, like Oscar Piastri did before the start of the race, you're going to get wiped out. So I wonder whether this could be a safety car. Now, the Ferraris were too late there, I think. That it would have been very bold for them to come in there. It was very, very late. Unfortunately for them, they're stuck behind Lance Stroll here. Maybe Lance Stroll's going to struggle to do the delta time. Max Verstappen did come in, though. So Max Verstappen and Lindblad did come in. Now, frustratingly for Verstappen, he comes out behind Lindblad. I'm a bit surprised that maybe the... Oh, it's interesting. Verstappen had to wait for Lindblad in the pit. I know you can't overtake under VSC, but you can kind of overtake in the pit lane, right? So I'm kind of a little bit surprised there weren't some mad team orders there and Lindblad didn't have a sticky rear tyre. Because now Verstappen is behind Lindblad. Right, I'll be shocked if the Ferraris... I'll eat... What am I going to eat? I'll eat the Mercedes Formula 1 steering wheel if Ferrari don't come in. I will eat it. Carbon fibre. They haven't come in. They haven't come in. Pit lane closed is the shout. Yeah, pit lane entry closed. I should have read that before I just took a mouthful of carbon fibre. So because this is terrible news for Ferrari. So, and also what's really interesting is that Verstappen and Lindblad were able to pit and Ferrari haven't been able to. So maybe there'll be some accusations of bias here again. And now VSC ending. This could not be any worse for Ferrari. The reason why the pit lane entry is closed is because the marshals had to push Lewis Hamilton's ex-teammate Valtteri Bottas through the pit lane. Now the Ferrari's got to get past Lance Stroll, and they're 20 laps in and they've missed 2 VSCs to pit. Bird in the bush, as they say. They did not eat the kookaburra and they didn't pit the first time round. As they get past Lance Stroll, this is going to be very embarrassing here if Ferrari pit now, I have to say. Be extremely embarrassing. Let's see how long it takes Verstappen to get past Arvid Lindblad. Right. Keep your eyes... Oh, Lindblad defending hard against Verstappen, that's why. Lindblad not making any friends from Verstappen here. Are the Ferraris going to pit? Are one of them going to pit? Nope, they keep going. Maybe they're supremely confident about their tyre wear. Or maybe they're in a complete mess here and we're witnessing it in 4K. What tyres are the Mercedes on? They're on the hard tyre. So potentially Mercedes can go to the end. Hamilton, maybe some mistake there because Lance Stroll seems to have got past Hamilton. Unless there's an issue with the standings. It looks like Hamilton's made... No, issue with the standings. Issue with the standings. We think. Michael says Lindblad means business. That's literally what Lindblad translates to. But also Verstappen has gone past. Round the outside into turn 9. And then a really stupid camera angle that basically gave zero context on what was happening. Text says Verstappen V6 rah. Yes indeed. And Verstappen here, depending on tyres, maybe could go to the end. I'm not sure. We will see. Kireth says, we've only been underway for half an hour and already 5 drivers who dropped out for various reasons. At this rate, no one will be left. Yeah, I said 14 cars. So at the moment, there's 17 cars running, but you can bet your bottom dollar that Lance Stroll's going to retire. So we're basically on 16 cars. So I don't know where we were in the pre-race predictions there. Welcome, Blackout. I'm a NASCAR fan who occasionally watches Formula 1. Now there's an Apple TV. I guess I've been tuning. Welcome. Good to have you there. Here as a NASCAR fan. I was also covering Daytona today. And the Ferraris go around again. Meanwhile, George Russell is only 5 seconds off. And remember, has a pit stop in hand. But the Ferraris are going long. Ferraris are clearly going long here. Eric said 15-16. Welcome, New Gen VR Club. Good to see you again. Welcome, Dark Cloud as well. 22 laps into this, 37 laps to go. If you want a little recap, Oscar Piastri crashed before the race started and was out. Nico Hülkenberg, his car broke down before the race started and didn't start the race. Isaac Hadjar's car broke down during the race, causing a VSC, under which the Mercedes pitted. Fernando Alonso, even though Lawrence Stroll said they're going to go to the end, he lied to me, and Alfonso came in. And Valtteri Bottas has just broken down just at the pit entry, blocking the pits, but not before Max Verstappen had dived in to get a cheap pit stop, but denying the Ferraris a pit stop. Welcome, Jesus. There'll be loads of yellow flags for VSCs and maybe a red. Coasting, do you think Ferraris can go long enough to put the softs later? I think, given that the hard tyre looks to be a good race tyre, I think the Ferraris are clearly doing a one-stop here. Potentially, the Mercedes might have to do a two-stop, I don't know. So it could equalise out. Thunderbolt, as a NASCAR fan, I choose to get into pay 1 this year to find a pay. Well, welcome here. Everyone's welcome here. Actually, I'm sure I'm new here, but isn't it Alfonso and not Alonso? Yeah, exactly. Giovanni, I only think anything that makes sense is Ferrari trying to do 40 laps and go soft. Well, I don't even think they need to go soft. I think the hard tyre could be a good race tyre. And what happened to Alfonso? He's retired. Lance Stroll, certified hard man here. You know, but Lance Stroll is cutting about 4 seconds slower a lap than Charles Leclerc. 5 seconds a lap slower than George Russell. And George Russell here will be just seeing the flashes of red and white and blue of the Ferraris ahead of him. But I wonder if both Russell, Leclerc and Hamilton are all going to do one stop here. Because interestingly, the Ferraris might also be good on the hard tyre. Let's see. And it says, I think Verstappen is cooking today. Probably get a podium here. I don't see Verstappen getting a podium because he'd need to get past both Ferraris. Sorry. He'd need to get past a Ferrari or Mercedes. In fact, 2 of them. Does it cost money to like the stream? I can confirm it doesn't cost money. Hit the like button, everyone down there. Hit the like button. Get us to 500 likes today. And also make sure to subscribe as well. Maybe we get to 132 500 today. FMJ, someone holding a sign with your face says that's not a wheel. I'll show you a wheel. I don't fully understand. There we go. Okay, so what's the pace saying at the front? Lewis Hamilton's just done his fastest lap of the race as the fuel loads get lighter. So Hamilton 123.3 and Russell 122.8, so it's equalising out a little bit. Maybe 4D chess here from Ferrari, just choosing to go long. Anan says Mercedes cooking, but Ferrari goated, and it's East Tommy saying, Hamilton, you got this. Actually saying Ford really scammed Red Bull. Leclerc and Hamilton go past the pits, decline to pit. And George Russell is very much within striking distance. We'll see the rear wing of Lewis Hamilton. Wow, these cars really do not rev out. Are those RPMs correct? Because I'm pretty sure my Peugeot RCZ revs like more than these F1 cars. Carl says the race feed shows Oscar speaking to media but doesn't play the audio. You can just make up what he said. Yeah, the EcoBoost goes boom. That's why I've got a Prince engine. Content is scared for Mercedes as Verstappen is approaching. Well, approaching is one way to put it. I don't think it tells the whole story given that Lando Norris exists and Verstappen is a long way behind. Who is Lin in 7? That's Arvid Lindblad, the rookie here in the Racing Bulls team. Highly rated and has been impressing throughout the weekend, I think it's fair to say. Axon, have Ferrari cracked the McLaren tyre trip? Stop leaking my YouTube titles there. Let's check in on Alpine, White Dome. Let's check in on Alpine and Haas's and Audi's. Let's do that. So, Haas, Oliver Behrman, running in P8. Very, very, very tidy from Oliver Behrman there in P8. And catching Arvid Lindblad. So, Oliver Behrman could be having a standout season the way this is going. And Leclerc boxes. Let's interrupt that because Leclerc boxes now. And is going to come out well behind Kimi Antonelli. Now, the question is, are they going to go to the end on that tyre? I would say yes. I would say yes. I would say Leclerc's going to go to the end, so we can expect Hamilton to box next lap as well. So keep an eye on Leclerc's sector times. Alonso suddenly shows pit out. What's Fernando Alfonso doing? Fernando Alonso has gone rogue and has rejoined the race here. 11 laps down. So, Lawrence Stroll, do I believe you now? You're a man of your word? So, Alonso's had a tea break. They've come to Melbourne and they turned it into cricket, haven't they? So, Fernando Alonso had a little bit of a break, had a cup of tea. Thinks, it's not a track day, Fernando Alonso. This is a race. The laps mean something. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? If there's a safety car or something, this can be very interesting. If any cars may unlap themselves. Right, is Lewis Hamilton going to come into the pits here? Will Hamilton go a bit longer? Lewis Hamilton stays out. So, slightly different strategy going on here with Charles Leclerc. Jack says Alfonso will probably still finish ahead of Stroll. Let's see, that race is on. Eric says, what is going on? Well, just pure chaos there. Alfonso is still actually technically behind Valtteri Bottas, even though Bottas retired quite a few laps ago. No, we don't have to wait 11 laps till the race finishes. That's not how it works. Blacker's loving the comeback, loving the spirit. Alfonso's got that dog in him. GameCat saying Hamilton sacrificed to back up Russell. Let's see. Or maybe Hamilton's tyres are just in better shape. Maybe he hasn't been doing hammer time. He's been doing look after the tyres time. Yeah, and Alfonso won the soft tyre as well. Good spot. Golden say this season is going to be a clown show. Well, it's very interesting. That means that a car is essentially unretired. A car that I called as retired has unretired. Which is interesting. So will Hamilton box this lap? Is Hamilton going to box this lap? Let's see. And what if Hamilton? What if Alfonso causes a safety car now? Just very interesting permutations. I did say before, maybe some drivers will treat this as a free practice session, like I think we saw Lance Stroll do. Did we see Stroll do this as well? Near the end of last season, he just turned the race into a practice session. I think I made a video on it, if I remember. Okay, so Hamilton stays out. So Hamilton and Russell very close together here. And if they do battle, then this is going to help Charles Leclerc relative to George Russell. So they are very close together. Oh, it looks like Russell and Hamilton are battling here. Let's see how that goes. Does this happen often, a car being retired and rejoin the race? I think Perez thought about doing it in Japan last year, didn't he? When he had the 2 years ago, when he had the issue with the seatbelt that everyone was very suspicious about. So Russell has got ahead of Lewis Hamilton here. So we'll see if Hamilton decides to box now. And another question is, are the Mercedes going to be able to go to the end on these tyres? Or are they going to need to box again? Because if they need to box again, then it's all to play for. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hamilton dives into the pits here. And yes, he does, indeed. So Hamilton does dive into the pits. Let's see how much time he's lost relative to Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris is 8 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. But we've got many different strategies now on circuit. Welcome, Mickey Mouse. Good day. How sad what's happened with Oscar Vamos Landas from Maribel. Yep. Unfortunate for Oscar Piastri, to say the least, frankly. Am I an engineer? No. Okay, I'm not part-time engineering for one of the teams here. Okay, so Hamilton comes out of the pits about 5 or 6 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, albeit with 3 second fresher tyres on the hard, and those hards surely are going to go all the way to the end. So the question is, will the Mercedes be able to go to the end or not? Now, if the Mercedes aren't going to go to the end, there'll be another tyre advantage later for the Mercedes because they'll be on fresher rubber. But Russell on the radio saying, okay, I think the one stop is viable. So, Team Russell think maybe one stop viable here. Hamilton needs to run his own team. I can totally see Hamilton F1 racing happening, because he might just be like, you know what, I want to run a team and I want to run it my way. I've dealt with enough in my Ferrari years. Ferrari is so fast and hard after practice. You can see Charles Leclerc heading his fastest lap of the race. We can't, at this moment in time, in reality, we can't clown the Ferrari strategy just yet. But it'd be very poetic if there was to be a VSC right now, just after they've both pitted, obviously. In fact, if there was a VSC now, what would happen probably is that the Mercedes would box and get a free pit stop. That's what I suspect would happen. Yeah, everyone on hard tyres, apart from the Aston Martins and Fernando, Lance Stroll has just boxed as well. And they're running together, gathering data. What happened to Hadjar? Hadjar's engine or gearbox blew up. So Verstappen, yeah, on a different strategy here, because Verstappen started on the hard tyre. So you'd think Verstappen definitely has to box again. So Verstappen's really banking on another VSC. If there's another VSC, so when they say one stop is viable, basically, the more you drive on the tyres, as I explained yesterday, the more they wear, and the more they wear, the slower actually they become. So at some point they become so slow, you're better off actually coming into the pits and getting new tyres. Even though you're going to lose loads of time coming into the pits, getting tyres changed, over the course of a stint, you'll actually get that time back. So what Mercedes are working out is it going to be quicker to go to the end of these tyres, even though they're going to get very worn and slower, or is it going to be quicker to come into the pits and get some new tyres on? Now, obviously, the mass on a VSC changes this. Ocon has been is being investigated for driving unnecessarily slowly, which is very harsh. He's trying to go as fast as he can. How many cars get points in F1? Just the 10 cars still. That hasn't changed with the extra teams. What happened to Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg didn't even make the start of the race, unfortunately. And if people might not believe it if you're just joining us, but Fernando Alonso has unretired himself. Is there anything he can't do? And George Russell actually coming up behind him, and Lance Stroll. I might be confused, saying, hang on, that's like Alfonso, you told me he's retired. Now, we were going to go through the Hasses and the Audis and so forth, so let's do that now. So Behrman is in P8, has actually set the fastest middle sector out of anyone, Oliver Behrman. Bortoletto is in P9 in the Audi, so very tidy from Bortoletto in that Audi. And then Pierre Gasly is dragging that Alpine into P10. So the Alpine's looking faster than the Williams, which is fantastic for them. Sainz is slow. Why? He's in a Williams. And DJ Max better be gentle on the forward engine. Yep. Don't want to stress the EcoBoost too much. Golden saying this GP is a mess. Blind says go iRacing. And King says we need a championship. Well, luckily you're in the right place because this is the Formula 1 2026 World Championship. In fact, there's two. There's the World Constructors Championship and the World Drivers Championship as well. Yeah, driving too slowly, 10-second penalty for Ocon. Russell saying it feels windy out there. And being told, yeah, gusts of up to 25 kilometers per hour. So it's windy. So can George Russell see this home? And has it been gifted by the Ferraris by choosing not to pit under VSC? Content, what's Kireth about? I've got some good news for you, Kireth. We're in Formula 1 already. They're on the circuit right now. Aid says, what's the Ferrari pace like on my now compared to Mercedes? I'm watching my phone and forgot glasses. So 22.9 for Leclerc, 23.1 for Hamilton last lap, which are both personal best laps for both of them on the hard tyre. Russell 23.5 and 23.2. So the Ferrari pace right now is quicker than the Mercedes pace. Tony says, bro, what is Ferrari doing? Ferrari just doing Ferrari things, I think. That's what's going on. Is Lindblad doing good? Lindblad is doing really good. The best way to check how good Lindblad's doing is comparing with his teammates. Meanwhile, that Haas through the middle sector, Behrman again sets a middle sector faster than anyone else on circuit on 13-lap old hard tyres. Is anyone seeing what's happening in the middle sector with Ollie Behrman? Maybe they have the that maybe they have the kind of map really set up well for that sector. Shout out to the software engineer at Haas. And Bortoletto sets his fastest lap time of the race, 23.9, on 14 lap old hard tyres. He's only a couple tenths off the Mercedes pace. Dark Cloud saying Russell getting past Stroll safely. Yeah, interesting. The Aston Martins are on the soft tyre, so there'll be heavy blue flags being waved. O'Bearman, a master of the twiddly bits. Bearman doing nice stuff. Yeah, watch out for O'Bearman this season. And Hamilton, I think, being told, where am I losing all the time? I'm being told turn 5 if you can do it flat. So maybe Hamilton at the moment is not doing turn 5 flat. Norris, could you do 26 laps on the medium? And Norris saying, no, not at this rate. I just destroy them after 10 laps. If you see Hamilton in the wall after P5, it will be because he's trying to do it flat. Sareem said, want to see the battle of Max and Hamilton. Well, keep an eye on Verstappen here, because Verstappen is all over Lando Norris. VSC deployed. VSC deployed. So I reckon we're going to see the Mercedes come in here. What's happened here? What's happened here? VSC deployed. Bortoletto gets a cheap pit stop. 1.9k watching a 284. Yeah, please everyone, please hit the like button. Smash the like button right now. And also, please subscribe as well. So, really, really helps me out. I really personally appreciate it. VSC right now. What's happened here? Is it one of the Aston Martins? Is it one of the Aston Martins here? And are we going to see the Mercedes come in? Leclerc saying, stay out, stay out. Ooh, there's some debris on circuit. Maybe it's just a debris situation. Track is ending already. Oh my goodness. So VSC, marshals on circuit. Very brave marshals. Very nonchalant. Someone's front wing came off. And the Mercedes were not able to, or didn't want to pit there. Did it come off Sergio Perez's car? Yep, something came off Sergio Perez's car. And under VSC, a marshal ran out. And if you want to know where they ran out, I think it's like in between turn 8 and turn 9, that very fast section. A marshal ran out onto the circuit. Really brave, that marshal. Welcome, Justin Nigerian. Welcome, AA Bros, EA Creative. EA Creative, you here yesterday. You can just stay subscribed, my friend. In fact, I want to do a little nations check. No, Alfonso's not leading. Let us know where in the world you're watching from, everyone. Put your country in the chat. Do a nations check. As that is another VSC situation that the Mercedes were unable to profit from. And Lando Norris has to pit outside VSC. So that's not gone well for Lando Norris at all. Anand says India, China, Netherlands, Eric, Canada, Content, Thailand, Anand, India again. Still there. Police, Maldives, MT, USA, Sharia, India, YS, USA, Black Hat, USA, Vlaka, Croatia, Dagnarik, Madagascar, Yolanda, Netherlands, Hizzy, Sri Lanka as well, Coasting, USA, Lived, USA, Ebrook from Australia, Blind, Canada, Sean Abbott from Canada, Crazy Aid, Cyprus, Newgen, Germany, Martin, Netherlands, ran back to Singapore. We're all over here. Folks from Chicago. Boosted Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi as well. We're all over. Sarumsa from Japan, Thunderbolt from New York, EA Creators from India and Sodigai, Pakistan. George from Austria. Will be at Austria later in the season. Is Verstappen going full pace? I think so. So, not a good timing there for Lando Norris. Pitting just after the VSC. Dare I say a little bit of Ferrari strategy. And Charles Leclerc is still behind Lance Stroll. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso is coming again. Have another little break. Welcome, Julian from Turkey. I wonder if Leclerc has been stuck behind Lance Stroll for a little bit here. Might be getting a little bit annoyed, potentially. Meanwhile, look at the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc. That's opened up. DJ San Francisco, Cardiel from Nairobi. Forward from Zimbabwe. Ntombe Bikiasi Pamela from South Africa. Welcome. Jupiter's not Australian, but he's in Australia right now. That counts. You can choose either. Dual nationalities are permitted here. It also says visit the Maldives. Is that a formal invitation? Okay, so the Mercedes, are they going to try and go to the end here? And if so, are we going to see the effects of tyre degradation? The pace has picked up as well. Russell at 122.7 is very quick, and Leclerc at 124.3. So Leclerc in that traffic behind Lance Stroll, who's also boxed now. Lawrence Stroll, you're a liar. You lied to me. You said both your drivers are going to make it to the end. Lawrence Stroll, I don't believe anything you have to say now. Makes me question whether everything is okay at Aston Martin. Maybe the rumours are true that the Honda engine is terrible. Maybe I shouldn't believe what Aston Martin say, because you told me your drivers are going to make it to the end. Sarim's just saying Lindblad's slow now. Where's Lindblad? Lindblad last lap 124.6. Remember, Lando is on the medium tyre. And just to bear in mind, Lando Norris was asked, can you do 25 laps on the medium tyre? And he said no. Well, McLaren have asked him to do 25 laps on the medium tyre. So is Lando Norris going to have to pit again? Maybe the McLaren is very, very, very poor on tyre wear. We will see. As then the Mercedes go past the pit entry, decide not to box here. Let's see what lap time Charles Leclerc does now. Hamilton's had to get past a whole load of traffic. So Charles Leclerc goes over the line. It was a 24.3 last time around. I'd expect it to be faster. It's a 23.2 this time around. But it's a second a lap slower than the Mercedes, even though the Mercedes are on much worn tyres. Dark Cloud Alfonso is due for another tea break, yes indeed. Welcome Car Deals and Kartik Chowthy. Tutor Alonso just resting for a bit, trust me. Yeah, welcome everyone as well. Welcome to the stream. There are 21 laps to go. Josiah's Team Hamilton. Michael, Honda make RB's winning car engines. It doesn't make sense to me. No, that's not how it's worked. That's not how it's worked. If you look at how Red Bull powertrains and Ford and where the Honda staff are, when Aston Martin went to see Honda in November, apparently they were like, where's all the usual people? Who are these new guys? And WD Network saying Mercedes extremely fast. They went, yeah, I think this might just be where the Mercedes really stretch their legs. And Esteban Ocon as well, doing the fastest middle sector out of anyone on 26 lap old hard. So something about that middle sector in the Ferrari engined Haas is going very nicely. Blind says Stroll stopped for a beaver tail. Is that an authentic Canadian delicacy? And Chai is saying it's confirmed now. Both Aston Martin drivers have been retired. Maybe the FIA are going to block the garage and say, stop this. Stop making a mockery of our sport. It's not the Melbourne track day. Okay, so Russell in the lead right now by 6 seconds over Antonelli and 16 over Charles Leclerc. So to be honest, the Mercedes have got a pit stop in hand anyway. I mean, Russell could pit now on the VSC and come out ahead of the Ferraris on fresh tyres. That said, Charles Leclerc has just done... Lewis Hamilton says, talk to me into the corners, mate, please. I suspect that might be a hint of sarcasm there by Sir Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, Charles Leclerc doing the fastest lap out of anyone, 22.5. So the Ferraris are actually picking up the pace. Are we going to see George Russell pit or not? Norris has got past Lindblad, and Oliver Behrman also is hunting down Lindblad. So we'll see if Lando can go all the way on these tyres or not. Let's see if Charles Leclerc can also do another fast lap here. 22.5 last time around. 22.7. Ah! Michael! Thank you so much for the $14.99. Thank you so much for the super chat, Michael. Less than 20 laps to go. Chat, who ends up on the podium? Chat, you've got to answer Michael and get some claps out there for super chat. We've got 2,000 people watching. Thank you so much, Michael, for the super chat there. Please get your claps out. Let's clap that up. Let's celebrate it. And please do reply to Michael on your podium. Thanks so much. Very generous. Massively appreciate it. Coming in there. shocked me. Who ends up on the podium? I'm gonna go Russell, Antonelli. What if the Ferraris need to pit again here? Is it boring if I go Russell Antonelli? I'm gonna go Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc. I'm gonna go like that. Adav says Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton. So I don't know where Antonelli goes. Gamecat says yippee huzzah. Exactly what I was thinking there. My internal monologue. Hamilton now the fastest lap. It is hammer time at Ferrari. Russell, Leclerc, Anthony, keep them coming in. Big thanks to Michael for the super chat there. Tyrannosaur saying, as much as I would love to say Norris, it's probably one of the leaders. Funky Cold Dima says, hi Kireth, me and my 11-year-old son are watching you for the first time. Just thought we'd say hi. Look at that. It's a family Formula 1 fun for the first race of the season. Let's hope it's going to be a great season and your son is going to be really into Formula 1. We've got Lewis Hamilton's helmet here. And we've got George Russell's wheel. So who's going to come out on top between those two today and this season? Blackout doesn't have a dog in the fight, but love to see Lewis get back to victory. Martin Harmston replying to Michael, saying Russell, Anthony, Leclerc. Let's see what happens there. At the moment, 16 cars running. I think, did I say 16 or 14? I think I said 14 cars to finish the race. So let's see what happens there exactly. Anand says Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton. Again, not a lot of love for Antonelli being shown out here. So Leclerc, 22.9 last time, 22.5 for Hamilton. It is hammer time there for Lewis. And 5.3 seconds is the gap between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Welcome ZK, Brandon, Gaming and Chenda. Do you think Albon in the hunt for the top 10? No. I don't think so. He's a long way off Esteban Ocon, and he's put the soft tyres on that I suspect aren't going to last till the end of the race, but we will see. Meanwhile, Verstappen is looking really strong here, but remember, Verstappen will need to box again. In fact, he boxes now. Is the commentator Harpoon there? So Max Verstappen boxes now. Will he go on the softs till the end? Or maybe he'll do another stint on the mediums. And where will he come out compared to Lando Norris? Verstappen leaving the pits now. So Norris is going to be ahead of Verstappen. But Verstappen's gone on the hard tyres. There we go. So if that hard tyre's good, it still makes sense to go on it near the end of the race. So Verstappen on the hard tyre. And I wonder if there's a VSC, surely the Mercedes are going to do a similar strategy. The question is, will the Mercedes have to do that? Anyway, they're 29 laps in on the hard tyre. Keep an eye on Franco Colapinto meanwhile. Colapinto is the canary in the mine here because Colapinto has done 40 laps on those hard tyres. So if Colapinto keeps going and they'll be tracking his lap times, then it shows that there's way more life in the tyre yet. Go on, they'll use the rotary ring for an upgrade. I've been told that the rotary ring is being tested. Funky's got a joke. Be careful. Be careful. The mods have been alerted there. What is Verstappen on? Verstappen has gone out onto fresh hard tyres. He's got fresh hard tyres available. Shariura says, is Verstappen satisfied, or will he try and push for 4th or even a podium? No, Verstappen is 100% going to try and get past Lando Norris. Anything past that's going to be difficult, because if there's a VSC, well, maybe even the you'd imagine here that the Ferraris will take advantage. What would be interesting here is if there's a full-on safety car, that would be very interesting, because I imagine the Ferraris will take 3 stops and go on softs or hards or mediums, whatever they want. Remember, they've got more tyres available because they were able to do Q1 on mediums. And the Mercedes might need to split the strategy. Verstappen is on hards. Hamilton now under 5 seconds. Yes, just under 5 seconds there. 22.6 last time. Hamilton lapping very consistently there. And Verstappen's last lap was a 1:27.9, but that was the outlap, I think. So let's see what happens. Still enough time for some retirements here. Tony says Ferrari can't even catch pace now. Average Ferrari strategy. Spoken like a true Tifosi. And Kireth says Lewis is going to pass Leclerc within 15 laps. Are you tracking that? Are you tracking that gap? I mean, catching is one thing. Passing is a complete other thing. But we will see. Yeah, Max did start on the hard tyre. So Max has gone hard, medium, hard. Hard, medium, hard. I'm just stunned at how low these engines rev to. And Colapinto is now 42 laps deep on that hard tyre. So interesting strategy from Colapinto. And the Mercedes are still running basically high 22s, very low 23s, which is very good race pace. However, there's Verstappen's first lap coming in. A 22 dead for Verstappen on that fresh hard tyre. And Lando Norris 23.2. Wow, much slower. Much slower on the mediums. That's Lando's fastest lap of the race. So Verstappen clearly has much more pace than Lando Norris here. Yeah, Verstappen, Lando's again is saying, why are you coming fast to Verstappen? But I think Verstappen is going to make short work of Lando Norris, or there's going to be a huge accident. One of the two. Don't see any other options. Let me know if anyone disagrees. Norris and Carlos Sainz, the only drivers at the moment on the medium tyre. Colapinto stays out, so he'll be doing another lap on those hards. And is in a battle, sort of, with Lawson and Sainz. Sainz is all over the back of him, actually. So let's see if Verstappen is going to be able to get past Lando Norris here. Anand says Hamilton, massive gain. Yes, 4 seconds now is the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc. Verstappen GPS showing him going very slowly there. But I think that might be a GPS issue, I suspect. So we can expect maybe, probably too far behind to get it done in 9. He's 1 second behind. Remember, DRS not a thing now. It's not as arbitrary. Are the Astons coming back out? We hope so. We hope they're going to come out for a final stint. Let's be honest. Julian predictions: Lewis Hamilton will replace Frederick Vasseur in 27-28. Maybe it's written into his contract. Why did Max go with softs? Because maybe the hard tyre is just better tyre. Norris, Verstappen is pushing hard. He knows now his best chance. Now is his best chance on you. So the two drivers who were first and second in the championship last year are now battling for P5. Shows how quickly things can change. What's the other red team? That's Audi. And Bortoletto is the Audi driver in P9 at the moment. 22.4 for Verstappen that time around. Can he get past Lando Norris? Meanwhile, George Russell, 33 laps on the hards. But given that Colapinto's done 44, I think they will be able to make that work. What can Reen Archer? Is George saying he's going to go to the end? So if George is going to go to the end, then that'll be interesting if there's a safety car. If there is a full safety car, not a VSC I don't think will change it enough. But there's a full safety car right now. It'd be very tasty for the Ferraris. Extremely tasty. Isaac Daniels, if Mercedes make any decision to pit, which is likely, they will lose to Ferrari. Ferrari has tyre advantage even if they don't pit. Not sure you say they're to tyre advantage if they don't pit, because I just don't think it's going to make enough of a difference unless there's a massive drop-off. But given Colapinto's done so many laps, I don't think there's going to be a big drop-off. If George is going to the end, Antonelli will probably put on safety car instead of George. Yeah, Antonelli, if there's a safety car, Antonelli can cover that off. This is the advantage of having two cars at the top, which we haven't seen, for example, with Max Verstappen and Red Bull in recent years. We haven't seen them have two cars at the top like this. So Mercedes can use one of their drivers to cover off. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz goes into the pits. He only done 11 laps on the medium, so not sure why he's come in here, given he was in a battle with Colapinto. So it might be a retirement here for Carlos Sainz. Potentially a retirement. Nope, Carlos Sainz is leaving the pit lane. So Carlos Sainz gets underway again. Not entirely sure what that's about. Unless they know that Colapinto is going to box again. In which case they want to try and do a undercut. Crashgate 2. Crashgate 2 could happen because obviously Flavio Briatore is somehow back in the fold with Alpine. Explain that one to me if anyone can. I thought there was a ban from racing, but maybe this isn't racing. It's like how some chocolate bars aren't technically chocolate. Science says he's on soft. He's going to the end on South. So Carlos Sainz, keep an eye on the Carlos Sainz pace on the soft tyres. Is a Mercedes engine that Williams? Okay, again, don't you think Ferrari made a blunder at the initial stages? Yeah, I think one of the drivers should have pitted under VSC. I think they made a mistake, and I think they would have pitted the second time, but the pit lane was blocked. And I guess that's just how the cookie has crumbled here. But they had the opportunity the first time. Can someone explain the chances of Lewis winning or even getting top 3? So to win, there needs to be a big issue with the Mercedes. To get the top 3, he needs to catch Charles Leclerc and basically get on the radio and say, Charles is slowing me down, I can get Kimi. So Hamilton would need to make the case to Ferrari that if Leclerc lets him past, he can get Kimi. Now what will happen there, Ferrari go, okay, sure, Charles will let you pass, but if you don't overtake Kimi, you're going to give the position back. So I don't really see many ways in which Hamilton's going to finish P3 here, but let me know if anyone agrees or disagrees. And make sure to hit the like button as well. 2,500 people watching, 350 likes. I want everyone right now to hit that like button. If I'm going to move it, I'm going to find it and move it. Let's see where it is. Hit that like button. Smash the like button. We can go up to 500 likes. We want to do it. We want to do it. Absolutely destroy it. If you don't mind. Much appreciated. Okay, and are we going to see anyone else pit? See drivers at the back going on soft tyre. Could be still more retirements as the engines are being stressed. Yeah, let's see what happens with that Mercedes. You'd think it's going to be super. See, look at that, 437 likes. Thank you so much, everyone. Smashing it. We're going to get there. We're going to get to 500 at this rate. We're going to do it. Let me just align that properly. Apologies for that not being aligned. Let's just bring that back into line there. Running a tight ship. Thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. Will Mercedes pit here? There's no reason for Mercedes to pit now unless there's a safety car, I would say. Because if Russell pits now, he's just going to lose track position to probably both Ferraris, which will just be too risky. The more important thing to look at is that Russell last lap did the 122.8 on the hard tyre, and Hamilton did Leclerc did a 23.3. So Leclerc was half second slower. You've asked at the wrong time. Don't give 2 reasons for liking. You can like because it makes you feel good. It's good for the algorithm. I appreciate it. Now I've given 3 reasons. Eric, I don't think Russell needs to pit. If anything, Anthony should pit on virtual safety car. Yeah. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if there is going to be a VSC or a safety car. Meanwhile, Verstappen, interestingly, can't get past Lando Norris. So Verstappen can't get this done on Lando, which is very interesting. Yeah, it may have been traffic for Leclerc there, but either which way, it's kind of irrelevant. The fact is, it's a slower lap time. And Lewis Hamilton now just 3 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. So will Hamilton fancy a podium here? Yeah, people spotting in chat. Hamilton, Stroll for the win. That ain't going to happen. Hamilton is catching Charles Leclerc. What do you think, chat? Do you think if Hamilton catches Leclerc, should he be allowed to go for the overtake or not? What do you think? What do you reckon? Anam says, I think yes. Why is Hadjar out? Engine blew up or gearbox. Lacka says yes. Brad Page says Iron come on Luli, we believe. Aid says absolutely. Neil says nope. Gina would love P3 for Hamilton. Gamecat says let them race. Let them fight. The gap at the moment, though, is staying steady at 3 seconds between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Meanwhile, Verstappen is unable to get past Lando Norris. And Kimi Antonelli just holding position, holding station behind George Russell. 5 seconds there. Would be interesting also if Antonelli was putting pressure on Russell. But I reckon if you told Antonelli the moment that his car was in pieces in FP3 that you're going to finish P2, I think he would have taken it. Christopher says hammer time. Hannah Brown says go Liam. Supporting Liam Lawson in P13 there. Lawson is chasing after Alex Albon. And Esteban Ocon is chasing his old teammate Pierre Gasly for the final championship point here. Is the Audi of Bortoletto going to last? We will see. Aid says, looking at it positively, it's still a good race for Ferrari. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to finish first and second, you'd want to finish third and fourth. And to be honest, I suspect that Hamilton's really caught Leclerc here. I suspect that the Mercedes has more pace even than they're showing. They probably don't want to get any more compression on the compression ratio. It'd be relatively easy to move that new testing date forward. Now the framework is there for the new test. To change the date, it's just one amendment. So I actually wouldn't have given up on that maybe as easily as Mercedes seemed to. Doc says, I can't believe this performance from Arvid. First race mental. Michael Lewis says, shake and bake. Well, Lewis Hamilton 2.8 seconds behind. I have to get past Pierre Gasly here. Wonder if it will happen on the home straight. Julian Boyce is happy to check her back on pack. Chin says, Stroll is back. Stroll is back, everyone. And the Aston Martin track day at Melbourne. You could have just gone to Silverstone, lads. So, Lance Stroll is back. Can he still win the race? No, because he's 15 laps down and there's only 6 to go. So, Lance Stroll cannot improve his position, actually. He can't finish higher than 17th. And now imagine the scenes if Lance Stroll causes a red flag here. Also, it's a complete laughingstock that they've built a car that you can only drive for about 15 lap stints when the race is 58 laps. Like, that's a completely wrong design philosophy. 310 Ram, will Max get Lando? Well, it seems like Max is really struggling here to get past Lando. Hamilton, meanwhile, that gap is up to 3.2 between Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, 6 laps to go. Dark Cloud Alfonso finished 16. Will he come out as well? Yeah, get Alfonso out there as well. Come on. Just do a couple of laps in before close. Yeah, can we ask a question? Is Adrian Newey washed? Chat, is Adrian Newey washed? That's the question. Washed or not washed? Welcome B, Sapna Singh, John Luke Navarro, Obey, SS, Adam as well. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, by the way, if you want to see more of what we do here. And also, obviously doing all the sim racing videos, if you want to see the sim stuff, to get the Mercedes wheel on. Golden says yes, Anam says yes. Hugo says not. Johnny says the field is going to be closer in 3 GP's time. Sorry to see Williams languishing. Mercedes will run away with the season. I think Mercedes look really strong. Capital, it seems, say Book says Honda's washed. Action is Adrian Newey to blame. You need to write my YouTube thumbnails titles. Inna says yeah. Professor says I think Adrian is milking Lawrence. Does that mean washed then? Aeronautics Hadjar retired with an engine issue. Someone tell me why Ocon's in the sport, because he's in P11. He's about to overtake Gasly here and get a point. That's why he's in the sport, my friend. Dark Cloud saying Max fastest lap. Yeah, but that was done when he got on the hards for the first time. Vibrant says 63 love hearts. And then I can't interpret the rest of that. Looks like a message that we sent up on Voyager 2. So yeah, Lance Stroll is just ahead of Albon and Lawson here, who are really battling. Meanwhile, the gap between Leclerc and Hamilton is down to 2.5 seconds. So maybe Hamilton will try and force this. Maybe we'll have a Dan Ticktum and Pepe Marti incident. Which Pepe said very strongly that he's not a rookie. And called Dan Ticktum something not very nice. So let's see if we can have two teammates here also go together. 2.4 seconds. Erinick says, not a good start for Ford. Yep. I'm sure fingers will be pointed. How much you pay for thumbnails? Slide into the DMs. Hannah Brown, Sky Sports is bad. Or like evil. Okay, so there's going to be 3 laps to go when Russell goes over the line. Anthony has just closed that gap slightly. Probably Russell taking it a little bit easy. I think Mercedes are going to have a PR nightmare here, because are we all prepared for Mercedes domination, frankly? Professor blames a Ford crankshaft on the Honda engine. Silver says Hamilton for third. What are we saying here? 2.1 seconds! I tell you what, that's what to watch right now. Is look at the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc. I remember Hamilton went a little bit longer than Leclerc as well. Hamilton went a little bit longer. So 2 seconds now, and a personal best sector for Hamilton in Sector 3 last time around. Chat, if you're supporting Hamilton, put your hammers in the chat. If you're a member as well, if you're a member, you can put the Lewis emojis in. It's been in there so long, he's still wearing a Mercedes hat. But you can put your Hamilton emojis in. And Verstappen looks like he's aborted trying to overtake Lando Norris, frankly. Here come the hammers in. Okay. A lot of West Ham supporters in chat, clearly. 1.9 is the gap between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. This is the battle for P3. But I can't see this ending in the Hamilton podium unless there's also going to be tears. Arnav says, let's go Hamilton P3. Vlatka with the Hamilton emoji. Dark Classing Hamsters. It's hammer time. Chin saying, I think Leclerc will stick to P2. Anam says, allow Hamilton to pass, bro. Is that a direct message to Charles Leclerc? Welcome Orlando Duran as well. Great to have you. And look at the likes. Thank you so much. We hit 500 likes. Absolutely fantastic. Next race, we'll try and go for 1,000. Mercedes lost it in the pit stops. No, Mercedes haven't lost this, my friend. Mercedes are winning this race. Are you watching this on your phone upside down or something? Do you think Lance Stroll's 15 laps ahead? Right, Hamilton 1.4 now. I think Hamilton might be sending a message as well. Arnav saying, let Hamilton through. Charles, Lewis is faster than you. Do you confirm? Do you confirm? 1.5 now. And Norris are going to have a bit of awkward traffic to deal with here. I wonder if Verstappen might be able to profit. We are about to start the last lap as well. It is going to be the last lap, 1.4. So I think Hamilton might be making a point. Hamilton might be sending some signals like, I'm the number one here. When push comes to shove, I should be the driver that gets prioritised because I've got the pace. But also Hamilton qualified P7, so didn't help himself. But remember that Charles Leclerc went exited turn 1 in first place. So the Ferrari turbo is real. 1.4 over the line, but we are on the final lap here. George Russell has commenced the final lap. Is this the time when Lewis and Lando should call it a day and hang boots? Well, certainly not Lewis Hamilton because he's in P4 right now. He's just a second off Charles Leclerc. I just wonder, is there going to be a big send here? But I think the Mercedes pace is pretty frightening. And I reckon they have quite a lot in reserve, I would say. By the way, big thank you to everyone who's joined us today. We'll be doing, hopefully, all the FPs for the future session as well. And be a bit easier time zones. Thank you for your commitment. It's also been very motivating and inspiring for me. Also, it's been a full weekend of streaming. And I think next time I'll be on track will be Formula E, hopefully. We'll be out on track there. Black is still waiting for Alfonso to come back out. Okay, so Russell is going to win. Oh, 6 tenths, 4 tenths between Hamilton and Leclerc. Surely not, surely not, surely not. This would be absolutely sensational. Surely Hamilton's going to get a message. Russell goes over the line and does win the Melbourne Grand Prix, and Anthony is P2. And meanwhile, Hamilton just sending a few shots across the bow of Charles Leclerc there, saying, hey, I'm the big dog. I'm the 8-time world champion. But it is Charles Leclerc who finishes on the podium. Lewis Hamilton P4. And Lando Norris will get a very respectable P5, I think. Best of the rest. And Max Verstappen might be wondering, well, what happens if I hadn't binned it in qualifying? As someone who can actually do the checker flag is doing a checker flag, which is really awesome to see. Who's my driver of the day? I can't say Lindblad because he's dropped off a bit. Driver of the day is really tricky. It's really tricky. I mean, you can still say that. In fact, put your driver of the day in. Put your driver in the day in there. I don't think anyone can say Hamilton driver of the day. Like, honestly, I don't think you can legitimately say Hamilton. Because if you say Hamilton, why are you not saying Charles Leclerc? Max from the back could have it, yeah. From the back for Verstappen. I think, you know, maybe I have to give it to George Russell for just very dominating performance over Kimi Antonelli. Lewis made up more places, yeah, but I always feel that's a bit of a, you know, because if you have a bad qualifying. No, we're not going to say Piastri. Hannah Brown saying Max. Zach White saying Verstappen went up 14 places. Yes, indeed. Black is saying we'd love to see a great comeback. Russell, you rip a great job, awesome drive, awesome weekend, well done, mate. Russell saying, I like this car, I like this engine. Yeah, he's rubbing it in for anyone else who doesn't have that Mercedes engine, or even customers that do have the Mercedes engine that are a bit suspicious that the factory team at Mercedes is getting so much out of it. Quadrant Hamilton is the most arrogant, he should get it to make his head even bigger. Oof. But Shaw says no, give it to Hamilton. Gina, great race. I really enjoyed the back and forth. Russell and Leclerc, hopefully next race. Yeah, thanks for joining us here for your first ever Formula 1 race weekend, I believe. We'll see you next time as well, hopefully. Fox News Fest, 6 cars finish on the lead lap. Boring. Do we agree with that? Welcome Fluffy in 519. Yeah, Stroll just going to keep cutting round until the lights go off. They should just rent a circuit and do practice. It's interesting because in-season practice is so restricted now. They've basically forced Aston Martin to use this as a practice session at the same time as the race is going on. Eric, I think it was a good race to listen to. Black Hat was entertained. Thanks, Michael. Thank you for the donation, so I really appreciate it. Very generous. KDB says, yeah, this is definitely the best race of 2026 so far. And the veils have been dropped here, and we've seen everything for what it is. It seems like McLaren really are struggling comparative to last year. It seems like the Red Bull, you can never count off Verstappen. It seems like the Ferrari starts are true, and it seems like Mercedes do have insane race pace. And the question is, how much do they have in reserve? Thanks, Chaya. Thank you for all the modding as well, as always. Dark Cloud Alfonso doing laps. Yeah, they're trying to... The anthem's playing. And you can just hear, like, the Aston Martin crunching down the straight. Soft clipping, super clipping. Thanks, Action. By far the best live stream. Thank you very much. Next one. Thanks, Scott. First time watching, subscribe. Wait for the next one. Yeah. And I'm doing the race recap videos on Formula Fan TV, but I'm tagging them. I'm tagging this main channel in as well, so hopefully they show on your homepage if you're subscribed. So you can check my race recaps also. But yeah, George Russell must be thinking, right, got to do everything I can to get the World Championship locked down. Who knows what's going to happen if and when Mercedes change the engine. It's the only race. Yeah, that is also true, but it's also the best race 2026. Thanks, V-Neck. Time to do some welding. Appreciate the stream. You'll be happy with Hamilton. Such a good performance there up to P4, for sure. Syed, thanks for Saudi. We will probably not see the race here this year. Yeah, I suspect, even though Jeddah is on the other side, I suspect that's what's going to happen. Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, appreciate it, everyone. Trying to see if we can see our man with the poster in the grandstands. Got the channel logos on there. It's really cool. So yeah, just some thoughts from me. Which I'm looking down at general admission now, so I'll keep an eye out for this. Just some thoughts from me. I think Mercedes are really going to dominate this. I think Mercedes are going to dominate. I suspect the customer teams are going to put a lot of pressure on Mercedes to get a better understanding of the engine. You know, they might, if you're someone like Williams and you feel like you really need some help with the engine, you might even say, look, you know, we've got nothing to lose then about siding with the testing on the engine compression, as weird as it might sound. You can put some pressure on Mercedes there. So we could also see the other Mercedes powered cars move up as well. Question mark with Ferrari is, if they had done the VSC, would they have really mixed it with Mercedes? My heart says hopefully yes, my head says maybe not. Thanks Forward Panaguma, thanks for out. Thanks Brad Page9, first time commenting. Print the comment out and frame it, I say. Thanks Blue Sky. Yeah, we got some great mods in the chat as well. Best mods in the game, for sure. Can Max challenge Russell? Max does have the fastest lap of the race. That's the thing as well. There's some interesting storylines here. So my head says, well, hang on a second. The Ferraris were looking so strong at the beginning, and they were all dicing and swapping position and everything. But I still have a lot of weight of the last couple of years in Ferrari, where a lot of time they flatter to deceive. But then again, if they really do have the pace, then it's a massive strategic blunder to have not boxed them on the VSC. How would Bugatti go? I don't know. Thanks, Flatcut. Dark Cloud saying Ferrari doing Ferrari things. Yeah, if there's any more thoughts anyone's got, let me know before because I'll record again like a post race. But if anyone's got any thoughts, let me know what you think. Any observations from that race? Bortoleto in P9 is, I think, quite impressive for that Audi, given how poor the Cadillacs have been. So Bortoleto's fastest lap was 3 seconds quicker than Perez's fastest lap. When the Cadillacs are properly off the pace here. The Cadillacs are slower than the Aston Martins. They're probably getting a bit of a free pass at the moment. Gina says, so Ferrari is a good strategy. They can really challenge Mercedes. That's what's to be seen. That's possible. One answer is that the Mercedes are just so quick and they've got pace in reserve. However, it could be that the Ferraris can challenge them and they'll actually be pleasantly surprised by this race. But Lewis will hold them all to account and say, look, why did we not pit? Why did we not split strategy? So yeah, we'll have to see what's going on with the calendar. We're doing an Asian leg, so we've got Japan, we've got China. Oh my goodness. Is it Japan next? Is it back to back? F1 schedule. China is China next. 15th of March. That's back to back. Okay, so China. What time zone are we talking for China? Oh my god. Free practice 1, 3:30 local time. Sprint race 3 a.m. Oh man. Oh, okay, well. We'll get the fleece out then, won't we? Okay, so next weekend. Next weekend, I suspect we will do sprint qualifying, which starts at 7:30, so we'll start streaming at 6:30 or something. And then we'll do... I don't know whether I'm going to do the sprint at 3 a.m. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, because maybe we do sprint qualifying at 7, then we do qualifying at 7, and then we do race at 7. We'll have to see. I mean, it seems a bit weird doing sprint qualifying and not doing sprint, but yeah, let's see. Keep an eye out on the schedule. I'll try and schedule them early. I've got some templates now for the thumbnails, which makes it really easy to do. So I can schedule them in advance. Cadillac is a new Minardi. Yeah, potentially, but they're a bigger name than Minardi. So, right, everyone, I'm going to end the stream there. So, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. It's been a big weekend of streaming. I'm going to record a post-race show, which is going to get edited by a great editor. And I'm going to try and get some sleep as well. And I'm going to get an English breakfast at some point. Yeah, and also keep an eye out for post-race penalties. Keep an eye out for post-race. If you do want to keep chatting, by the way, make sure to join the Discord. I'll put the link in here. So we're starting to do some stuff in the Discord. Like we did a watch along in the Discord where we actually had the race footage. So make sure to join that Discord if you're on Discord. If you're not on Discord already, it's, you know, don't join Discord just for that. But if you're on Discord already, then definitely join that server. That's our server where we have the F1 channels, and yeah, we've done some cool stuff in there, cutting edge actually with the race footage, which is crazy. Thanks New Gen VR, thanks Martin Anand, Vlatka as well, KDB, Dark Cloud, everyone else, Martin Hampson, Yolanda Vestig, Gina. What is a sprint? We'll go through it next time. But it's been a fun weekend. We've seen the story develop. Is it going to be Mercedes domination, or are Ferrari going to be the fans' favourite, trying to bring it to them? We will see. Alright everyone, have a very good Sunday, and I'll see you next time.